It is 6 o'clock. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com sports desk. The Titans announced the signing of 6 players to their roster, all of whom participated in the Titans rookie minicamp over the weekend. Cornerback L.J. Davis, center James Empey, also cornerback Eric Garrar, wide receiver Gavin Holmes, wide receiver Kyrus Jackson, and at cornerback Armani Marsh. Select veteran players scheduled to meet with the media at noon today at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park as well. The NFL and NBC Universal announced that the Saturday night game on Wild Card Weekend will be streaming on Peacock. To the NHL, Dallas 2, Seattle 1, Game 7 of their series. The Stars advance to the Western Conference Finals to take on Vegas. NBA Lakers at Denver tonight. Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals, 7:30 the local time for that tip. Braves blanked the Rangers 12-0, slamming 5 two-run homers. Atlanta snapped a 4-game losing streak. And ninth-ranked Tennessee will host Belmont in college baseball at 6:30 Eastern tonight. Final regular season home game for the Vols. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Off and running on a Tuesday morning edition. Welcome to Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Coming up this morning, former Titans linebacker Keith Bulluck joins the show at 8:20. Of course, Tuesday means Ron Slay in hour number 4 as we hit a loaded slate of NFL headlines, of college football, of conference realignment, of football games on streaming services with 11-year NFL veteran Ramon Foster, capitalized J journalist Kayla Anderson, and the best producer in the world, Jonathan Schaefer.
The best producer in the world!
My name is Will Bowling. It is Tuesday, May the 16th, a beautiful morning in Nashville, Tennessee. How are we?
Good.
We're fine, man. Good.
We're fine.
Yeah, we're fine. We're living good, man. I thought we were supposed to get some rain earlier this morning. That's held off or pushed into another area. Is it later now?
Yeah.
Always.
I know.
Whatever happened to April showers?
I'd rather just get out of the way.
Why did May and April flip? Like, what the heck?
It's the new weather, I guess, location that we are at.
Well, it is.
Location?
It is.
Well, pattern.
Pattern, yeah. I'll give
That's
it
the
the
better
pattern.
word for
Yeah.
it.
Well, guess
We're in
when
the
new
same
pattern.
location. The pattern might be a little different.
It is what it is, but you know what? It's beautiful right now, and I'll take it. Yesterday was one of those first hot, humid days, by the way, too. Yesterday was a little sticky. Did y'all feel that way yesterday?
Yes.
Yeah, summer's here.
Oh, yeah.
It happened.
It feels
did.
weird still, though.
It's always right around Memorial Day.
But we had like a long spring weather, and I'm appreciative for that. I really am.
The minute we started really talking about it, I feel like it switched on us.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
like, no, you may not have spring anymore.
But we were giving grace, though. I'll take it. This year, some 70s and freaking April.
was nice.
Man, that's beautiful.
What do we have? 2 months of spring this year?
I mean, it
Kind of.
feels like it.
It's like a month and a half longer than usual.
Yeah.
Right. Many times it's 2 weeks?
Nashville was 4th in rainfall over 2022 in the country,
Was it really?
Oh,
4?
wow. What was number
behind
one?
New Orleans.
What?
New Orleans, Birmingham, Miami, Nashville, New York City. Your top 5.
Wow.
Where is Seattle in that?
Not in the top 10.
Jeez.
that's
They're not in the
interesting.
top 10?
They're not,
Dang.
but it rained on more days in Seattle.
Okay.
3HL's big on this. They talk about this all the time, that it gets more. No, I'm serious.
Yeah, I know
Yeah,
Mayor
I heard
does
him
bring
mention
it up.
it.
There's more rainfall total in Nashville than there is Seattle every year, but it rains on more days in Seattle.
Yeah.
So Buffalo had the most rainfall in terms of days last year, 167. Seattle was 4th on that list.
Okay.
Rochester was 2nd,
Is that
Okay.
also including snow?
probably.
Okay. All right. I was about to say.
Actually, yes, rains or snows on more than 130 days each year.
Okay. All right. That
Rochester's
make a
getting
little
that
sense.
snow.
I know. I had to drive up there one time.
So my sister
Rochester.
went to grad school.
Oh, wow.
It's legit up there.
Is it? Well,
Never been.
I was in and out. It's like a smallish town.
It actually
though,
reminds
isn't
me
it?
a lot of Knoxville.
That's what I was thinking.
It's
Yeah,
very similar size to Knoxville.
very similar.
Yeah.
Went up there one time to get a car.
You hit a car?
Bought a car up there.
Oh,
I
God.
had this Mustang.
What?
Hear me out. I had a 5.0 Mustang.
You had a car
No.
besides the one you normally drive?
A Mustang
I'm
on
shocked.
top of this. This was.
What color?
Hear me out. It was white. It was this white Ford Mustang California Special.
That's got to be racism.
I rode it crazy.
605, the first. That's got to be racist drop.
It had a clear glass top. It had this exhaust system on it that was insane. What's crazy is I drove it because I loved it. I love the sound of a Mustang. It is by far the most noticeable car sound ever, okay? I love the sound of it. So when I had the ability to get a Mustang for the price that I got it, I got Keisha Ford Explorer. And they threw in the Mustang.
Wait, they threw it in?
They threw it in, Kayla. They threw it in.
Must be nice.
Oh, my gosh. That's a great little buy one, get one
So wait,
free.
They threw it in?
Wow.
They threw
Yeah,
it
right?
in, Shay.
That's
These are
insane,
Matchbox cars.
dude. Right?
They threw in the Mustang.
Yeah, was it plastic or was it actually a car you can drive?
It was a real car. I have pictures of it. They
God.
threw it in for a really great price. So she goes to get her car. She was like, "What is this?" I'm like, "It cut me a deal I couldn't refuse." Keish, I'm sorry.
How did you bring two cars back?
Well, I was trading in another vehicle,
Yeah.
and I actually just had an extra vehicle in Pittsburgh at the time. Ron actually came up to drive it back after the season.
There you
So,
go.
what was the amount of
My
this vehicle
goodness.
that I don't know they just
Yeah.
threw in?
I'd like to know.
A la carte.
32,000.
Oh, my gosh. You are what? You're one popular
I'm a
guy.
terrible person, man.
Ramon has the luxury on the show of not being relatable but still being likable. When people just, when I mention for 5 seconds that I went to a private middle school and high school, it's like,
shoot.
Will, nobody cares, bro. Hey, no, the rest of us didn't do that. And then Ramon, it's like the mom dancing in the aisle in Mean Girls
Yeah.
of like, oh, wow, that's awesome. They gave you a car. That's so cool, Ramon. Good job. Sweet, man. It's like, hey, whoa. Where's the disconnect here?
You're 100% correct, Will.
Goodness sakes.
You are 100% correct.
so
But
funny.
I had to get rid of the Mustang because it was too dangerous, and I knew it was too dangerous. I had a heavy foot at the time.
Of course you did.
And
you
that
made it too dangerous.
exhaust was just, I was just like, God. I was
Did
wild.
Keisha make you get rid of it?
No,
Or
it was
did
a
you?
family decision. I was like, I got to get rid of this car. Is all I kept thinking. Ron drove it more than me. Josh drove it more than me. Renardo drove. They all took turns with this car. I promise you, okay?
Like speed dating?
It really was speed dating. And at a point, the next season, I go back up. I was like, man, we don't need this car. So I went to Rochester to get a 4-door car after that one.
You just gave it back to 'em?
No, well, I traded this one in for that one, which was a better
free?
decision. No, I got a good deal, but I had to drive for it. And Rochester, as Will said, is a very beautiful place.
It's like industrial, and it's all the
Okay.
sun doesn't come out, but it is beautiful. Other than that,
It is. I never forget that. Keisha was looking at me. He was like, "Mom, what is this car?" And I'm just like, "My bad, babe. Like, they cut me a really good deal on this car." That's all I could say at the time.
I'm not allowed to go car shopping with my dad because we would whenever we would go when I was a kid, we would come back with a new one, and my mom would be like, "What did you do?" Like literally the exact same conversation. That conversation has happened in a lot of households and a lot of. I'm sure one will happen in a couple hours this morning. Who's to say?
No lie, because it's when you get married and you got to have the same be on the same financial page.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's more or less like ask for forgiveness later. I was at that point there. I was like, you know
It
what?
was a battle you were going to pick.
I was willing. At that point, I was willing to fight that one, Will. But that was the last time I had
Chaos.
that automotive fight.
Wow.
615-737-1045. We'll dive into some NFL headlines coming up in just a couple of minutes as Cynthia Freeland of NFL.com gives win totals for every team in the NFL based on 100,000 simulations of all 272 regular season games. Some interesting stuff there. We've got a streaming service taking an NFL playoff game that's interesting.
Yeah.
We have got conference realignment and the next wave of conference realignment, according to SI.com's Ross Dellinger, which will include a battle between the Big 12 and the Pac-12, but will now include potentially the beginning of the end of the ACC, which is interesting. Something that I didn't expect to be talking about at this point of the summer. But as they have their spring meetings at Amelia Island this weekend, which is the one place you do want to visit in Jacksonville if you ever go there.
Yeah, you said you've been there.
Yeah, that's a family spot. Ever since Tennessee played in that first Tax Slayer Bowl against Iowa, that would have been January of 2015. That's been a favorite family place to go.
Oh, you got a whole island you go to?
No, I don't.
Huh? Wow.
We don't own the island.
Wow. Well, you got a whole island.
There you go.
Kayla,
Okay.
you got one?
No.
We don't drive down there in cars that
I
were
got
just
a
given to
floaty.
us, so don't worry.
No, I don't see any scenario of
Thanks
that.
so much.
I tried to flip it.
I know
I
you
tried.
did.
You really did?
You're not going anywhere
Kayla
this
didn't even
morning.
take my bait this morning, man. We're supposed to pile on the wheel this morning. No.
This
no
morning.
dice.
How about every morning?
The car thing just struck me.
It
too
lost
hard.
you? It lost you. My bad,
It did.
man. That'd be the last.
Yeah, I don't know if you're going to have an ally for the rest of the show today. It's really not looking good for you.
No.
All signs point to no.
I ruined it. I know
Unless
I
you get
did.
us a free car. Now then we could probably negotiate.
I talked to my folks.
Well, you keep trying to sign me up to get a new car, and I'm perfectly happy with
Oh,
mine.
that's
Well,
right.
you mentioned
Dream car.
You mentioned dream car. I mean, come on, Will.
I have a
At
couple.
some point, we got to
Fine.
make it. You're an adult now. You can make this a reality.
Yeah, it's fine, but you know me. I don't spend money on anything but delivery, food, and occasionally a pair of shoes.
Yeah, and then in case. Okay, all right, that's fair. That's fair.
I spend whatever I want on food, though, which is probably not great. but-
That's a car note right there.
Downtown grocery stores, by the way, the inflation that has taken
I don't
place
even want to know.
on grocery stores down here
Is it that bad?
is not great.
Is that
Like
bad?
I would rather just order in, and I do quite a bit because unless you use everything that you buy in your fridge, then you're losing money.
That's terrible.
Like it's literally cheaper to just get delivery.
That's a bad place. I actually saw look like two students, man, carrying in grocery bags full with those big clampers, and I was just
Yeah.
like, man, that's gotta suck like urban shopping. Like it does because they had to walk a long way.
Did
it looked
you not
like
live anywhere downtown in Pittsburgh?
I did, but the grocery store was right across the street, and we
Okay.
lived in a townhome that had a parking spot right in front of it. So no, I never lived in a high rise or an apartment type of building to where I had to walk up the steps and do all of those types of things, or walk to the store and can only walk back. That's some hard living right there for groceries. I'm with Will on this
Especially in
one.
the winter.
I know. Can you imagine? So you come out cheaper potentially ordering out.
Literally, yeah. Like if I have a busy week, like this week, we've got the NSC game tomorrow.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not cooking every night.
Right.
I'm just not even going to go to the grocery store until probably Thursday, afternoon.
That's fair. And you're planning on cooking for the weekend or planning for food
Probably
through the weekend.
I'm,
see?
I'm much
Yep.
worse at that because I'm more programmed to eat food that I've cooked during the week,
Yep.
and then on the weekend just figure it out as you go.
That's a bonus right there.
That's what
for
I
you.
kind of
Yeah.
do too.
You know.
Uh,
Coming up next, the NFL headlines and what Cynthia Freeland has to say about a projected Titans win total. Interesting stuff. And the one AFC South team that she projects to finish last in the AFC. Interesting. Coming up next, we've got Keith Bulluck at 8:20. Ron Slay in hour number 4. Always bringing it, those two. That's a chaotic last 2 hours of the show in the best way possible. We got dive into the NFL headlines coming up next. Here at Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone.
If you have a wet basement or crawl space, It's time to call United Structural Systems. We've all heard about these guys for a long time and for good reasons. They've served Middle Tennessee since 1994, and they've helped thousands of satisfied residential customers in that time. They are the go-to company when it comes to foundation repair and waterproofing. And if you have a wet basement or crawl space, you don't have to put up with that. Water intrusion and moisture could give you all sorts of problems down the road, and you want to get this fixed. It could be because you have poor drainage, the surface water flooding over the walls, or underwater pressure forcing water into your basement. It could be a plumbing leak. You just don't know. But the team at United Structural Systems will find out why you have a wet basement or crawl space, and we'll give you a plan and fix it. And if you do decide to move forward, you don't have to pay a dime until the work is done and you are satisfied. So get that free estimate from the people I trust. Go to USSTN.com. That's USSTN.com, or call them 615-227-2275. United Structural Systems.
Tuesday morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, and it's powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Get your car washed today, both of them, if you're Ramon Foster.
Yeah, did they throw in free car washes too, Moan?
Yeah, the first
Free
one,
oil
yeah.
changes?
Yeah, the first year oil changes were free.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Fresh tires? Both of them?
So this was when you were a pro, not when you were still getting a quote-unquote NIL deal, right? You don't need to censor this for the University of Tennessee, retroactively getting in trouble.
No, it was when I was a pro, Will.
It's good.
It was my introduction into, like, the life. It's like, oh, you can do those types of things? I didn't know I couldn't do that. Then I got rid of the car. That's fair.
Now you just have a nicer one, right?
No, hell, I have a bucket.
Bucket with wheels.
What are you talking about?
A bucket with
I have a
what?
bucket, man.
Anyway, hope you have Peacock because if you don't, you're going to miss one of the NFL playoff games this year. Why not?
Why not what? Miss the game?
No, why not have? I mean, why not have a streaming service do a game?
I thought about this yesterday too when I read it, and I was just like, why are we here right now? Why are we here? Is it because of us as a society? Like that's I was really thinking about that. How can they take advantage of us like that? Is it because of us and the phones and the tablets and the lack of focus when it comes down to this type of stuff? Because it puts everything into a microwave now. Like the game, oh, it's just streaming. I'll pick it up on my phone. But then the other side, I'm like, well, that's what we have cable for. Like, that's every subscription. I heard somebody this morning say, don't complain about it. It's not going anywhere. If I was the business, I would also do this to people too. But I'm saying, like, you probably got to pay extra for that game that weekend to watch it. And my thing is, on the NFL side of it, money's already made by them, right? The $110 million, I think, for one game.
One game.
One game. And what if the ratings suck?
Well, then they probably won't do it again.
They won't. It's an NFL playoff game in prime time. Ratings won't suck.
And,
I guess my problem is like the inconsistency with the streaming, right? Because now it's like if you don't have this app, because we specifically got Amazon last year, streaming primetime or Amazon Prime, whatever it is, so that I could watch Thursday night games. And now it's like Peacock sneaking in one. And now, what's Paramount? I mean, I just feel like there's so many different, it's like, can we just have like a couple so we could at least just be, part of a couple subscriptions? I don't even know what I'm subscribing to now. I'm not going to lie. There's like so many things when I go through my because I have YouTube TV.
yeah.
But then I have all these other streaming services added onto it. I think that's the biggest thing for me, and I don't know how many other people feel this way, but like just there's no consistency on where you're going to get anything anymore.
And you know what? I can't blame the NFL.
Well, no, they're going to make money.
Roger Goodell's his goal is to have this business, the NFL model, to $27 billion a year by the year 2027. He said that years ago, and they're well on their way to actually hitting that number.
Yep.
I mean, it's Roger Goodell and the NFL looking at streaming services and saying, well, soccer does this, pro wrestling does this, racing does this. I mean, why aren't we doing this? Why aren't we making the additional money on streaming services?
Is it? But I look at those and I'm like, those aren't primary sports. I mean, they are to the fan base, but on the macro level, like it's not the entirety of like the bulk of America. Well, a good bit of America watches American football, and I see that as like it shouldn't be a neighborhood only type of thing. Well, we got to go to Peacock to watch a playoff game, like. And I think we have. The fact that I'm saying I think we have Peacock. Keisha told me last night that we do, and I'm just like,
probably
okay.
and I'm just like, well, what about the ESPN app and the Hulu app and everything else app on top of that one? Like I have Hulu, Netflix, Amazon Prime, Peacock now, cable, Paramount. Do I have? No, I don't have Paramount.
I'll send you mine. You're good.
Now that's what we need to be doing is sharing now.
And I hate to ask this question blindly, but did they ever get to the password share on Netflix? Or did they not explore it? You remember that was supposed to be a situation too? Like if you're going to do that, then we got to be able to put money into a pot and have everybody share those passwords like that.
Netflix is the one I use the least now.
Do you?
Really?
Yeah.
I hadn't actually watched the show in a while but my kids do.
Peacock is like the cheapest one though. Peacock's $4 a month. It's going to be fine.
Until the premium, though.
What do you mean?
And I'm sure there's going to be something exclusive
Well,
that
they
I
do
want
have
to watch.
a premium
You
package.
see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That it's going to be something exclusive I want to watch. Like The Office is on Peacock now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Every NBC comedy is on Peacock.
I'd be interested, like, for fans, and clearly if your team's in the playoffs, you're definitely probably going to get that. But I'd be interested in fans if their teams aren't in the playoffs, but they're football fans, like how many are interested in actually purchasing that?
I mean, it's going to be a good bit because Will just said it a second ago, and he's 100% right, Kayla. As much as I want to fight the beast is going to win. That's when it comes down to you wanting to consume the game. Us.
Yeah.
They
You know what I'm
always
saying?
win.
Covering the games. It matters that we somewhat have it or have somebody that got a password that can get us in to watch it too, right?
You could do a free trial, maybe.
You could do a fake email for a weekend. You're 100% correct,
I
allegedly.
doubt they'll let you do that out there doing playoffs.
During the playoffs, you're
Be
seeing how to put
interesting
their
to
card
see.
down, huh?
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have like Comcast, then everyone who has Comcast gets Peacock like free.
Yeah.
Like there are benefits to that.
You have cables?
I have cable still, yes.
Okay.
And see, that's the other thing, paying that tab too, and Apple
Well,
TV
yeah.
is another one. But
Oh, yeah, Apple.
all of them do have the purpose. But it's a matter of, I thought I was only paying for one, and I'm paying for 12 now.
Well, with 2 Saturday NFL wildcard games and a Sunday primetime game on NBC and Peacock, NBC will be the first media company to present 3 NFL playoff games in a single weekend coming up next January. First time that's ever happened. The Peacock exclusive wildcard game will immediately follow a late afternoon NFL wildcard playoff game on NBC and Peacock at 3:30 Central on Saturday, January the 13th, which is always the time slot the Titans get anyway, if they make it that far.
Oh, we'll be tuned into it for sure.
So, Titans fans, if you feel confident about making the playoffs, I'd go ahead and get Peacock because the price will probably go up as the game actually gets closer.
Yeah, it probably will. But I can't be mad at it. I get it 100%.
This is also not only an NFL problem because I know I'm making a soccer comparison, but it is relevant in this discussion because in England, the Premier League is trying to make pay-per-view be used for like every single game.
Whoa.
Except for like the one national TV game of every week.
Whoa.
Interesting.
So this is not just an NFL issue. This is if you're a league that wants to make money and pay your commissioner a lot of dollars and pay your owners a lot of money, then these are the kinds of decisions that you make.
You know what this may end up doing? Forcing fans back into the stands in some sense. And I say that, and everybody's not in the city of that team is playing in, but gosh, it may end up being cheaper to just get a ticket sometimes, except if you're building a new stadium. And in that case right there, it might be a little bit expensive. But the business side of it, I get it. I appreciate what they're trying to do, maximize as much. Do you think the NFL, though, and I've had this conversation with some of my former teammates, one of my former left tackle, Alejandro Villanueva, he is a big-time soccer fan. I got to figure out his soccer club too, Will, so we can trash him if he's not with us, okay? You cool with that?
Perfect.
You good with trashing the Army Ranger?
Always.
He can't sneak up on us. He's too tall. With that being said, though, he used to always say the NFL is going to nosedive. We had that conversation. It's too much. The NFL is getting too exposed. Is not everybody can watch it. People are going to get, be not as interested as they used to be with football. And he used to just say, the oversaturation of it is why. And I'm thinking the more and more they add these outline games as far as going to Peacock, going to Prime, going to Apple, YouTube has it now. I'm thinking, is it going to get oversaturated? Will you get tired of the NFL? It's the question I have. Right now, I sit here, Will shaking his head. No,
Absolutely not.
you will not get tired of the NFL. So
No way.
the monster grows. Where is the plateau for the NFL then? At what point?
There isn't one.
There isn't a
I
plateau.
think the only way the NFL hurts itself is if they don't figure out concussion issues and
Yeah.
they either change the game too much in order to overcompensate for potential injuries, or they have a situation where, a more serious injury than even DeMar Hamlin happens.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like that is the obstacle that could stunt the NFL's growth, but that's a big point of emphasis for them already to not let things like that happen.
You know what's even more insane about that DeMar Hamlin is even through all of that, the support he got around that, Will, what's the conversation he had earlier this year about his health? He wants to go play again.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. I think people initially will get a little bit frustrated with just they're going here for streaming now. They're going there for streaming now. But in the end, they always usually come back around to, okay, well, I'm just going to subscribe.
Yeah. I actually,
that's just NFL fans, football fans in general.
as a player,
Can't get enough.
we went through everything that we went through in that the kneeling situation and the president situation.
Right.
You remember all of that fuss and hoopla around that, right? I actually thought, man, this is it for the NFL. To have politics involved in it at that point, to me, I was just like,
create a cloud.
that was an outside entity that I did not, I didn't think about when it came down to the growth of the NFL. But those same people, and it's comical now, I'm not watching are back watching.
That's what and that's kind of my point, right? You can get mad or you can be frustrated for a minute or a year or whatever it might be, but eventually I feel like they're going to want to come back.
Yeah. And we may have lost a few watchers, right? Viewers of the game. But the numbers don't show that, right? The numbers, what's the number one program on TV these days? NFL football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
NFL football and like award shows and coronations are the highest rated television shows every year.
And
it's
that's
not close.
worldwide.
And then maybe one college football game sneaks in there. In college football, there's so little parity in that sport right now that it's not like they're a threat to the NFL.
Not even close.
I mean, Georgia is the new powerhouse. Like it's there is not even like a threat to the NFL. Like when we're mad at what the NFL does, we suspend them for 2 days, Tuesday and Wednesday. Then we go back to them on Thursday. It's like, you know what? I'm not going to watch any NFL football until Thursday in punishment of Roger Goodell.
And what happens on Thursday night football?
Thursday night football.
Exactly.
Here I am.
That's so true. That's so true. But I will not lie. During that period of all of that happening outside of football, I was just like, yeah, we're probably on our way down.
Because you were playing.
I was nervous about that too.
Was it a conversation in the locker room at all?
A constant conversation.
And did people feel the same way as you, player-wise?
I didn't necessarily think that it would, tank and fall like the game, the viewers. People wouldn't come to the stands. It was my mindset was, well, this could be possible. Like I told you before, my former teammate Alejandro was just like, this is too much. This is too much exposure. It's too many cameras. It's hard knocks. And you got this, and then you got the mid-season hard knocks. And he was that wasn't at the time, but that was always the conversation. And his biggest point was, soccer will take over viewership in the United States.
Never.
No. You even say that as an avid soccer fan.
Yeah.
Okay.
MLS is the fastest growing league in the United States, but there is a wide gap still to bridge there.
Wow.
Football will always be king in the United States.
Football will always be king. Even if youth numbers fall over, we still want to consume it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Until it is no longer safe to play football, football will be king.
Tough.
Cynthia Freeland of NFL.com ran 100,000 simulations for all 272 regular season games, factoring in travel, factoring in when teams are going to play division games. The Titans a bit negatively impacted in that sense. The Jacksonville Jaguars total for her was 9.3 wins on average, which was a little bit lower than I expected.
Me too.
She actually weighted them playing back-to-back games in the UK in weeks 4 and 5 and compared it to a West Coast team staying on the East Coast for the same period of time to help the approximate time change consequences.
Wow.
The Jags' favorable odds within their division in the AFC South and against all 4 NFC South teams project them to finish first in the AFC South, and she's got the Titans number 2.
Okay.
But essentially points to the fact that playing Houston late means that Houston will have figured out a lot of their crap by the time the Titans play the Texans. Because C.J. Stroud won't be deer in the headlights by the time the Titans see him.
Yeah.
Remember,
Twice in the last couple
Yeah,
weeks
you
of the
did.
season.
Yeah, you
That's
did.
what I worried about with them having a sandwich with Seattle.
There was a negative impact on the Jags win total because they come off a game against San Francisco before hosting the Titans in Week 11, where the Titans played Chester Cheeto. And so that had a more significant negative impact on the Jags than the travel situation in 3 straight weeks does on the Titans.
Okay.
So positives for the Titans again in the way the schedule is made. The team that is projected to finish last of the AFC by Cynthia Freeland at NFL.com, the Indianapolis Colts. 5.6 wins is the projection. And she notes that it could be interesting that we could have QB2 versus QB3 potentially as soon as week 2.
Wow.
When C.J. Stroud of the Texans play Anthony Richardson and the Colts. And then when the Colts travel to Carolina in week 9, you've got potential QB1 versus QB3. So some young quarterback matchups that might be a bit chaotic early in the season for Indy.
This is good for
This
Indy,
is really
man.
interesting, yeah. Good for Indy.
This is good for Indy, man. Where are you at on these over and unders, Will, when it comes down to the Titans and Jags? Because I'm not looking at the other two as too serious right now. 8.1 for the Titans is what she
fair.
says.
Well, the
8 wins.
over under is 7.5.
7.5.
So this would tell you to take the over.
I'm taking the over on this one this year.
I am too.
Yeah.
The fact that the Titans have one of the easiest schedules in the NFL and play C.J. Stroud and Anthony Richardson twice.
Yeah.
You should win 3 out of those 4 games minimum.
Absolutely.
So at that point, where are you finding 5 more games? Well, you got 4 against the NFC South. So
Yeah. That's what I was
you
gonna
just
say.
got to beat 1 or 2 pretty good teams, and you probably win 8 games.
And you take the over on this. I'm taking the over all day on this one.
Yep.
And I don't know if the Jags going to be able to pull off what they expect this year, too. There's a lot of eyeballs and expectation coming out of Duval County.
You think you'd do the under on that then?
What is their over-under?
The over on 10.
For Jacksonville?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not confident enough either way right now.
I'm not confident enough either.
Just like everything that's kind of put on them now.
Mhm.
Like they're the chosen ones
yeah.
now.
I'm
Can they handle the pressure? Can Kreber?
not overly confident in that one so far.
Well, they've got their yearly win over Indy at home.
Yeah.
They've got, what, for 8 straight years
Yep.
now?
Yep, that's fair.
Interesting. Coming up next, NFL.com says these day 3 rookies could be day 1 starters, and one of them is a Tennessee Titan. We'll tell you who coming up next. It's Ramon, Kalen, Will, 104.5 The Zone. Hey, it's Will Bowling. If you are a business owner or facility manager, you have a lot on your plate and a lot to keep up with. That could include assessing your equipment and systems, evaluating indoor air quality, you're outlining new cleaning procedures, maybe you're even reviewing options for implementing touchless plumbing and electrical fixtures. That's a whole lot to worry about, but Lee Company can help you with it all. They have been in the facility management and maintenance business for decades. Put their professional expertise to work for you today. HVAC, electrical, and plumbing, they do it all. So call Lee Company at 615-567-1000 or contact them online at leecompany.com. That's anything you need as you manage your facility when it comes to plumbing, electrical fixtures, air quality, you name it, Lee Company can do it. That's 615-567-1000 online at leecompany.com. That's Lee Company, all you need.
Cheer on the boys in gold with 104.5 The Zone and Ramon, Kalo, Will coming up tomorrow. Get a 104.5 The Zone Nashville SC versus Inter Miami CF ticket bundle for just $35. What's in that bundle? Well, I'm glad you asked. It includes a ticket to the match, a Nashville SC 104.5 The Zone hat, a photo op on the pitch, and more. Listen to Ramon, Kayla, and Will for more details or purchase your tickets today at 1045thezone.com. We have one more giveaway actually coming up today.
Yes, we do. Jonathan Schaefer at 7:45. Go ahead and make an alarm for yourself if you would like a Nashville SC ticket. 7:45, your chance to call in and head to Geodis Park with us tomorrow night on a school night. Mm-hmm. Having fun on a Wednesday. Which we will enjoy.
Cool.
Not a bad seat in the house. And empanadas on me. Maybe not on me, but we'll get empanadas.
I know. I'm getting an empanada. Now you've talked that up. I'm like, I got to get one.
Ground beef empanadas are goated.
Wow. I know somebody that's over the food orders for over there who's like, yeah, they're really good.
Corner Pub, Rockin' Dough, Daddy's Dogs.
Ooh.
You've got really good margaritas in there.
Margs.
Empanadas are really good.
Yes.
Yeah, Margs, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Glad you've decided to speak in the 21st century.
Absolutely, man. I learn. I'm a quick learner.
I make you young.
Yeah. You know what? Yes, you do.
And by you, I mean all of Nashville. I make all of you young.
See, we can agree on something.
Thank you later.
There you go.
NFL.com's Day 3 rookies who could be starters. Tennessee Titans tight end Josh Wiley is on this list. The description being Wiley should be a regular in the Titans' 2 tight end sets in 2023, challenging linebackers and safeties with his bulk and athleticism. If he continues to mature as a route runner, receiver, and blocker, it would be easy to envision Tennessee coaches maximizing his potential early on. Mm-hmm. I think having Tony Dews as your tight ends coach also leads me to believe that you're going to be maximized early on.
No doubt.
That's a bonus right there.
We do have proof of concept of that guy being a pretty good position coach.
Yep. Yeah. Ramon, you.
This is big right here. He's number 2 on this list of Day 3 guys.
Yep.
Like, this to me says value, high value. Kayla, you pointed it out, his ability to catch. When I watched his tape, I was thinking to myself, this dude's a playmaking tight end. Like, he has the size. He's not afraid to go over the middle. His catch radius is phenomenal, man, and it seems like he has good hands. If he embodied everything Tennessee Titans, meaning getting that blocking down, Will, as you just said a second ago, this could be a big-time bonus for a team that's looking for somebody to move the chains. Again, he's a rookie. Also, he's a 5th-round draft pick. He went that late for a reason, but we all knew this. The tight end class this year was a deep class. Now, again, I say he's a 5th rounder, but stars are made in almost any sense, right? From any round. I saw a guy be a 6th-round draft pick become a superstar in this league. So that draft status don't matter if you can make plays. He reminded me of a Kelsey type.
Yeah, I think you're right on.
I'm
with
not
that.
comparing him to.
No.
The skill set suggests that he's able to get in space and make people miss and move well. This kid, this young guy, this player, Josh Wiley, to me, is as fluid as anybody they've gotten here in a while. Him and Chig together could be a problem.
Yeah.
I know we want wide receivers here. We want to see those guys do work, break folks down. This is just as good to me if you have a run game to support it.
Yeah, everything that we had heard about him prior to the rookie mini camp when he was drafted. We heard about the connection with Mike Vrabel and Luke Fickell. Luke Fickell, who used to be the head coach at Cincinnati, and by the way, is an incredible coach.
Yeah.
Joshua Perry, who's come on our show many times, played for him as he was a position coach for Joshua, said he is so good at developing players. And this is no different in terms of maybe a guy that learned under a guy like Luke Fickell, did not complain about having to maybe block a lot in that system at Cincinnati. But then he's showcased early on here, just with that one practice that I saw him in, like that guy is so athletic. Like he could really be beneficial if he's paired up with Chig, and he could be somebody who's a threat in the red zone. I mean, 6, like we said, 6'7".
Yeah.
I mean, and he's making plays like going over defenders. I know it's not
in
it's
pads,
not the veterans,
Yeah,
so we'll see that. But the early signs indicate that this could be a real hit for Mike Vrabel and company and Rand.
The same way you guys felt about Chig, I'm willing to buy some stock in Josh Wiley. Give me a couple penny stocks on this one, Will. I'm willing to buy in.
And for me, it's only because I trust this team to get the most out of its tight ends.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Not as much because of what he's already done. I think the only time the first opportunity for me to really compliment him in practice will be like halfway through training camp.
Yeah.
Because we've seen guys be training camp studs, and
sure.
then it doesn't even translate to preseason games.
That's so true.
Yeah.
I used to hate those guys.
Drives me
though.
crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I hated those dudes.
Right. So I think it's a good value pick, and look, it's a pick that again I think when people complained about not picking a wide receiver until the 7th, I agree with that. But you did add 2 pass catchers before that in Tajay Spears and Josh Wiley.
Right.
So yeah, you didn't add wide receivers. You don't still have that deep threat that you feel like you need to take the top off the defense, which leads me to believe that they think somebody already on the roster is that guy. And I honestly think it's probably just Chikakonkwo lined up against a safety or a linebacker outrunning a bigger defender.
Chick's got a lot on him this year, I'll tell you
He
that
does.
much. I'm going to come out right now and say that. I think he can handle it from everything I've seen from that guy and the way he handles himself, but he's got a lot on him, especially if they don't add to that wide receiver room.
Coming up next, a Tennessee player has transferred to Georgia, and we dive into a conversation in hour 2 about quarterback situations in the SEC. And we mentioned last week the article Bill Bender wrote about the best to worst quarterback situations in the SEC. I'm surprised how poorly Alabama is ranking in a lot of these conversations. We'll dive into that coming up next. It's Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone.
7:01. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com sports desk. The Titans announced the signing of 6 players to their roster, all of whom participated in the Titans rookie minicamp over the weekend. Cornerback L.J. Davis, center James Empey, also cornerback Eric Garrar, wide receiver Gavin Holmes, wide receiver Karis Jackson, also cornerback Armani Marsh. Select veteran players are scheduled to meet with the media at noon today at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. The NFL and NBC Universal announced that the Saturday night game on Wild Card Weekend will be streaming on Peacock. NHL playoffs last night, Dallas 2, Seattle 1, Game 7 of that Western Conference series. The Stars advanced to the Western Conference Finals to take on Vegas. Speaking of Western Conference Finals to the association, Lakers at Denver tonight, Game 1, local tip 7:30. The Braves blanked the Rangers 12-0, slamming 5 2-run homers. Atlanta snapped a 4-game losing streak. College baseball, 9th-ranked Tennessee will host Belmont at 6:30 Eastern tonight in the final regular season home game. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Welcome to your Tuesday morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. With Trust Matters, count on All Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. Professional garage door installation and repair from a locally owned and family-run business. Visit allfourseasonsgarages.com/Nashville. With our 11-year NFL veteran, our broadcast journalist, and the best producer in the world, Jonathan Schaefer. That's right. There's his voice. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Jonathan Schaefer. I'm Will Bowling. The Georgia Bulldogs have gone through the Tennessee Volunteers roster to find their newest running back. Yesterday, former Vols back Leneath Whitehead announcing that he will transfer back to his home state, Georgia Bulldogs, for the 2023 season.
Can't blame him. I mean, heck, they need help at Georgia at the running back position. He's a guy that's capable. Was injured at UT, and Georgia's the hot commodity right now. Again, it would have been awesome to have him on scholarship at UT for depth, especially former 4-star athlete also will. But this is the game you play. Guys jumping in the portal. If it's not going right in one place, and go to another situation that may be better for him. And Georgia is as good for anybody who's capable than any other team in the country.
What's their back situation like right now?
Injured.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That explains it.
Yeah, they are. But the rich get richer. You can't fault them. It's the same way Georgia Tech lost Jahmyr Gibbs last year. Like, this is what happens. Why not is almost kind of what I say. Sucks for us because we got to see him directly.
Yeah, Kendall Milton is their running back who was sidelined for all of spring after a hamstring injury. Andrew Paul, another back recovering from an ACL tear last fall. And then sophomore Branson Robinson missed the spring game as well. So they were down to just a couple of backs by the time they got to their spring game. For Leneath Whitehead, he's a guy that's 220 pounds, 6'2", out of Athens Academy in Georgia, where he rushed for just under 1,500 yards and 25 touchdowns. Played linebacker as well. And I think actually most people had him coming out as a linebacker in 2020. Jeremy Pruitt saw him as a running back, which probably means he should have been a linebacker. Provided depth for Tennessee in 2021. Was actually SEC Freshman of the Week when he rushed for 76 yards in that game against Missouri on 9 carries in 2021. So a guy that had some success for Tennessee. Then again, in that game, I think everyone in this room could have run for 80 yards against Missouri. They actually just gave up another rushing touchdown since the game started, since the show started this morning. Yet Eli Drinkwitz will still talk like he won the game and all of his other ones.
You know what?
That's what he does.
I'll say this, too, on transferring to a rival or somebody you got to play directly. The Henry Told hit did it for me enough to where I grew to accept it.
I think these are different.
Talking about just being able to accept what's happening for me.
I still don't accept Henry To'oTo'o going to Alabama. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have done it.
Shouldn't have done it for what reasons?
His reasoning was this is the best place to go to the NFL.
Oh.
There are plenty of other places at inside linebacker you can go to the NFL that aren't arch rivals of a team that he still claimed to respect.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm being pretty old-fashioned in saying that. I also don't care.
Can I ask, like, how much, and this is just me, and I've followed Henry To'oTo'o, from this draft process and whatever, and leading up to the draft, but I don't know if that really helped him that much.
He barely got drafted.
I know.
It didn't. What round was Henry To'oTo'o? Third?
I mean,
He was day 3, wasn't he?
yeah.
I did look at that and kind of say his efficiencies are still where they were at Alabama. What was his coverage not as great?
Coverage.
Yep.
When it came down to it, man, he is a pro right now. You got to give him that credit as it stands. Wow.
That's what I'm
He
saying.
went 5th round?
I
He
know.
was a 5th-round pick.
I was like, okay.
Kevin on Twitter adds, Whitehead has been in the portal for 6 months. Yes, that is true. We have known that. But says is walking on at Georgia and will still be buried at the depth chart there.
Yeesh.
I mean, if you play running back at Georgia, you have to expect to come in as the 6th or 7th running back.
And on top of that, well, I'll say this. They got an offensive line that should be able to carry whoever's toting the ball for them if healthy.
And that's what I'm saying. This is a very different situation because the guy's from Athens, Georgia.
Yeah.
Henry To'oTo'o is from California. And it's not like a Brandon Turnage going from Alabama to Tennessee. Brandon Turnage wasn't playing in Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
He went where he could get more playing time. Playing time was not the issue for Henry T at Tennessee.
No, it was not.
Nope.
He was a starter.
Right. You don't go from being a starter at one school to being a starter at a rival just because that team might give you a better shot at the playoff. Oh, by the way, Tennessee was, the team that was closer to the playoff. I know where the rankings ended up. I don't care.
Yeah. That is very fascinating, though, in this microwave era that we live in with transfers and stuff like that. Like, you expect, look, it's better on the other side for me. All of those players are going to help me shine. Mm-hmm. And here you are in a situation, one, you got beat by the team that you left.
Yeah.
on that field.
Ouch.
And I'm just speaking from a Tennessee fan perspective on this one. And you got beat by the team that you left when it came down to Henry To'oTo'o going to Alabama. It's his choice, his decision. And it's also one of the thing that irked me, though, Will, was what he said in his postseason interview when he said Coach Saban told him, hey, you should have made this choice in the beginning. And I'm thinking to myself, how did it actually benefit Henry To'oTo'o? Didn't win the national championship, did he? No. Did not win it. I'm not even sure if he was first team all SEC this year.
And didn't have much buzz coming out of the draft anyway.
And did not. And for a guy who's supposed to be a first 3 rounds type of linebacker, did not happen for him at Alabama. So, again, you have to assess all things when it comes down to you actually transferring out. But that doesn't happen these days.
He was first team all SEC.
He was this year? Well, good for him. Well, again, the thing that I say is this. You left a team that had guys in the draft that was before you. Byron Young went before you. Like, that's a defensive player right there. And Tennessee had a lack at middle linebacker this year, too.
That's what I was going to say. I kind of wonder now if he stayed.
Where would his stock have gone
I kind
at
of
this
wonder
point?
that. I know you can't change
the way our defense is set up. He would have been out there for a whole lot more tackles.
A lot more film.
Right?
A whole lot more film.
Yeah.
But great for him. He still got drafted.
Sure, and he's got a chance to prove himself.
The grass
in the NFL.
wasn't as green going to Alabama in this decision right here.
So Laneith Whitehead goes from scholarship at Tennessee to walk on at Georgia. An opportunity to play at home. Good for him.
Good for him.
That's honestly a guy Tennessee would have used last year more had he not been in the portal. Because he's been in the portal for quite some time.
Yeah. And then he also come out with like an upper body injury too. They kind of shut him down for a little while.
He was banged up last season as well.
He's 6'2" running back.
6'2", 220, yeah.
Probably getting popped in the chest so many times, man.
Well, Tennessee did not have that big back last year. Princeton Fant, their tight end, had to be the power back.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
because they had the Clemson kid that transferred in, Lynn J. Dixon, who played running back and then transferred back out like a month later.
So he ended up nowhere, if I'm not
I
mistaken.
believe that's correct. He bounced around a couple places.
That's gotta suck though, man. Like that's one part of the transfer portal, where you just like, y'all, you can't continue to do this. Like, I'm if it's a bad situation, screw adversity, right? I know I can go here and shine, but I ain't gonna say screw adversity. You're supposed to go through a little something, but this is making it too easy, and guys really don't have homes to go to at the end of the day. That's
be
not
smart
a good
about
look.
it. That's the thing.
Your camp your family support, your coach has got to be very honest with you when you're doing these types of moves right here, especially this young. I have to go back and look and see how many guys are still left in the portal right now that have no college home.
It's probably a lot of them, Ramon.
Tough situation to be in. And on top of that, though, it's I know we speak about student athlete. The student part of it comes first. Like, if for anything, get the degree for whatever that's worth these days. At least you got something from the university. Make them pay for something.
I think real quick, my biggest thing with being a transfer hopper, like if you see some of these quarterbacks, especially, entering the portal or so many times, and is it get to a point where it's just tough to pick up on every different?
No, well, I don't think it'd be tough as far as picking up the offenses and whatnot. I just think it's tough on trying to prove to people that you're actually worth what you're transferring for. You know what I'm saying?
Well, because you're not in one place.
You're not in one place. Like, if you couldn't beat them at this university X and then you go to university Y, you still can't beat somebody out the third time around. Just get your degree and walk across the stage is kind of the way I look at it. But if you're given opportunity, coaches are always looking for depth, and whether they want to admit it or not, they want that older guy in the room, it seems like more times than not in today's game, especially in college too.
Yep.
Yeah, Laneith Whitehead last season sidelined for the entire season with an injury.
Yeah.
So now he is the second running back for Tennessee to transfer out and have a new home. The other one was Justin Williams-Thomas, who committed to Cal earlier on in the process as well. Another Georgia guy who is, again, power back. Interested to see who Tennessee goes to in terms of its power runner. Khalifa Keith, their freshman running back, I think is seen as the kind of bigger guy. But you don't have a Swiss Army knife in Princeton Fant anymore that can play every position.
What about the young freshman from Carolina?
Khalifa Keith is the young freshman.
No. From that ran really well in the spring game.
Deshaun Bishop. He's a freshman.
He's a freshman.
He's not that guy.
Second.
I don't think he's getting legitimate playing time this year.
I'll give you the answer in 1 second.
Well, maybe we'll get it coming up next as we dive into the newest quarterback commitment for the University of Georgia. It's about time something went right for the plucky upstart Georgia Bulldogs. Go ahead, Ramon.
Cameron Seldon.
Cam Seldon. There you go. I think he's as much of a slot receiver as he is running back.
The way he looked in the spring game.
He's just the Swiss Army knife now.
Yeah, he is.
Right. Coming up, Georgia's newest quarterback and the quarterback situations in the SEC. Bill Bender, a friend of the show, has Tennessee higher than I would have expected and Alabama lower than I would have expected. We'll tell you exactly where he ranks SEC quarterback situations. Coming up next, here at Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone.
Hey, it's Ramon and Kayla with Window Nation. So maybe you're thinking about an investment, a good investment, one that will kind of give you some money back in the long run. Well, we have some amazing news from Window Nation. Right now, you can modernize, reinvest in your home today with new windows from Window Nation, all with their best deal of the year. Get 0% financing for 5 years. That's a really good deal, especially in what we're dealing with today with finance charges. You can get this one with 0 for 5 years. On top of that, Window Nation giving you 2 free windows with every 2 you buy. Protect and increase the value of your home and do it today. Don't put it off. You can check them out at windownation.com.
And the best thing about them, you can trust Window Nation because Windows is all they do. Installed over 200,000 Windows last year, 40 times more than an average window installer. You can go check their Google reviews online, over 10,000 positive reviews. Best thing is you have options. Over 1,500 custom vinyl window combinations available to you. And the average installer has over 16 years of experience with over 20,000 windows installed. They are that good. Simply go to windownation.com or call them at 866-90-NATION. Be sure to tell them that Ramon and Kayla sent you.
Continuing your Tuesday morning right here on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Coming up in an hour, Keith Bulluck joins us. Ron Slay as well at 9:20. Your chance to head to Geodis Park with us. That's just tomorrow.
Yeah.
Coming up in 25 minutes. 7:45. Set that alarm. NSC tickets on RKW coming up. And a big logo reveal tomorrow.
Yeah.
Which we're looking forward to.
I'm excited.
MLS fun fact of the day coming up as well. But first, let's dive into this SEC quarterback power ranking from Bill Bender of the Sporting News that we've mentioned a couple of times. That I said earlier has Alabama lower than expected and Tennessee a bit higher than I expected. Georgia added the number one recruit in the country for 2024 yesterday. Something finally goes right for the Bulldogs on the recruiting trail as Phoenix Pinnacle High School quarterback Dylan Raiola announced his commitment to Georgia, choosing them over finalists Nebraska, Oregon, and USC. Man, Nebraska fans go through it.
They do, man.
They really do because they're a great fan base.
Yep.
They are crazy. Like, that is the Big Ten team that I feel like the fan base fits with it just means more.
Yeah.
It does.
And they got a new coach.
I know.
'Cause
Matt Rule, right?
Dylan Raiola's dad, Dominic,
Yep.
played with Matthew Stafford on the Lions and played at Nebraska
Yep.
on the
7.
offensive line.
Just an L. When I saw they were in the running for that one, I was like, USC, okay, I get it. Kid don't want to go all the way over there. But when I saw Nebraska take an L like that, I was just like, you know what? Old UT, I feel bad for you, man, because our fan base is like ours. Won a whole lot in the late 90s and has a whole lot of prestige in history, Will, and just take an L. Can you imagine what that quarterback could have done for Nebraska?
Well, yeah, I think sometimes too they really take pride in like if their dad played.
Yeah.
You know, and especially so historic what Nebraska was for football back then.
And to have one
And
of
then
your
they just got
Just clipped
sliced
them.
out.
Sliced them out, Will. Go ahead, man. I ain't mean to cut you off. It just sucks, man, for a team looking for something like that. I feel bad for Matt Rule.
He was recruited by Mike Bobo, who is the Georgia offensive coordinator now with Todd Monken with the Baltimore Ravens. Titans will see Todd Monken in London.
Yeah, they will.
I'd much rather see him in London than Athens, Georgia, if I'm being honest about the two teams that I support from this state.
Yeah, 100%.
Bill Bender of the Sporting News has Georgia ranked as the 5th best quarterback situation in the SEC. With Carson Beck and Brock Vandegrift battling for that job, neither of them have made a single career start. Gunnar Stockton, which is a classic quarterback name, is a redshirt freshman on that roster as well. Carson Beck was pretty good in the spring game. 13 of 18, 211 yards and a touchdown. He sat there for 3 years. He's a redshirt junior this season. Wow. Carson Beck is.
That's rare.
Came in the national championship game, looked comfortable. Is that higher than you would have expected for Georgia, just considering the lack of experience in that quarterback room?
Oh, Georgia's put on a pedestal right now, simply because of what's around them. And I don't blame them. I would put Georgia middle of the road, too, and they can a little bit better than middle of the road, too. Brock Vandegrift is a guy that's supposed to be that guy coming out, too, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. He was already on some NFL way too early mocks as a guy that could come out next year. But I look at the support, the wide receivers. I look at the offensive line. It's always a talking point for them, and also being supported by a very good defense. The thing that I look at them and say, you get put up on this pedestal because of what you did with their coach Stetson Bennett last year. But you think these dudes got to be a little bit better than him, especially a guy like Brock Vandegrift. If I'm not mistaken, Will, a former 5-star prospect too?
Yes, he was a 5-star prospect in the class of 2021 in some places, but on 247 was a high 4-star. Okay. So in the classes of 2021 and 2020, Georgia had the number 5 quarterback in the country commit to them.
But that's the weird situation with Georgia, in my opinion, because we haven't really been able to see these types of highly recruited quarterbacks become anything because it has been the Stetson Bennett show, who was, let us remind you, a walk-on who has won the job, what was it, the last 2
years?
2 years or whatever?
Years, yep.
So you'd never been able to see some of these young guys coming out of high school that were highly recruited even be developed yet because he's been taking over the show and winning national championships. That's why I'm so curious with this situation is what are they going to look like now? Can you live up to the hype of being that type of quarterback at Georgia, even though you have everything around you? That doesn't mean you're going to succeed.
Almost look at Georgia quarterback situation as almost been fail-proof. That's just me at this point. They may be giving them a little bit too much credit, but it almost feel like it's fail-proof. Like, these dudes do have talent. If they don't, Will, I'm so glad to be wrong during the season.
Well, some of them have transferred in the past that had talent.
That's true, too.
I think the biggest issue now for other defenses playing Georgia is the wide receiving core is much better for Georgia than it has been in the past.
Yeah.
With Dominic Lovett coming
Yeah.
over from Missouri, that guy with the right quarterback and the right system is a legitimate wide receiver one in the SEC. Full stop.
Full stop.
So Georgia could end up having a couple of the 10 best receivers in college football this season. And by the way, they have maybe a top 10 pick in Brock Bowers.
Yeah. And immediately yesterday, man, and the announcement of Rayola's commitment, you had a 5-star saying, well, I guess I should consider Georgia's in. 5-star wide receiver. And this is Ohio State's commit, man. Jeremiah Smith.
That's big time.
He says Georgia getting Dylan Rayola means a lot to me and my interest in them. I have to really give Georgia a look now.
Sure.
To your point, Will, about them being stacked deep with wide receivers, this is what that does for you.
Well, the battle's on now, too, because they're developing them at Ohio State. We've made that point.
Yeah.
They're developing them, or they used to be at Alabama, which last year we didn't see as much of. And now Georgia's becoming the hot spot, too.
Becoming a hot spot right now. It's funny watching the shift the way it does, but this is also what the 5-star guy does for you. They help bring in these type of dudes, but we're talking about the 23 season as it stands right now. If Georgia's instability is at the quarterback position, meaning they don't know what they have and they're waiting on their knight in shining armor for next year, then I feel good about our chances of at least competing with them. That defense is going to be treacherous. We know that for sure. And the skill players surrounding the quarterback, even the offensive linemen, they just, okay, all right, we lost one in the first round. We got another one. Okay, they're like DJ Khaled out here. Another one is the way Georgia is at this point. And I hate it, but they're just that good. They are.
Yeah.
It's to your point, Georgia's rarely had that guy since Matthew Stafford. Their best quarterback in recent history is a walk-on, who I personally did not think was going to get drafted. But
Me too.
It is what it is. Well, did he graduate also?
Oh, gosh.
The report is that Stetson Bennett hasn't graduated, despite the fact that he's been in college since the Clinton administration.
That's 96? Dang.
So
That's an old quarterback.
You have an SEC graduate patch on your jersey if you've graduated, and he didn't have one going into this past season. And then on the list of Georgia players that the Georgia Athletic Department released who were graduating this spring, Stetson Bennett's name was nowhere to be found. I guess he was too busy knocking on doors at 3 a.m. to go to class.
Ooh.
Respectfully. Actually, disrespectfully.
Yeah, very disrespectful, Will. And if I'm not mistaken, there was a defensive end that went to Alabama that ended up getting 2 degrees, if I'm not mistaken, and was a first-round draft pick too.
This year.
Yeah. Will Anderson.
Oh, yeah.
How does Will Anderson get his in 3
right.
years? And this dude's been at Georgia for 7 years.
Nick Saban. That'd be probably how.
Kirby just letting them run amok out there, huh?
Oh, yeah, well.
There is stuff going on over there.
Hey, you go to Georgia, go to the league. I get it. It's fair.
So I feel like the quarterback situation of the SEC is fascinating this year because the veteran brand name quarterbacks aren't on the brand name programs. You've got Jaden Daniels at LSU. He's the exception to that as the situation that Bill Bender ranks as the number 1 quarterback situation in the SEC right now, which I go back and forth on because Jaden Daniels was good last year. I just don't think he has the pro potential that some of these other guys have.
Jaden Daniels. Did they have them as number 1 in the SEC?
Yep.
LSU.
So between these 5, this is the top 5
Let
that
me
I
hear
think
the top 5, Will.
is interesting. LSU number 1, the starter Jaden Daniels, the backup Garrett Nussmeier, who is a highly touted recruit coming out of high school. Arkansas and KJ Jefferson with backup Cade Fortin, the second best quarterback situation. I think that's very fair.
Yep.
And I don't think we, by the way, talk enough about how badly Arkansas underachieved last year with him as a senior.
very strong.
He was a little
conversation
injured
with.
too.
But still,
No, I
they
know.
fell off before the injury, though, too.
Yeah.
They fell off before the injury because they were expected to really push. I was on the Arkansas train.
I was too. I thought they were the third best team in the SEC last year.
Yeah.
Behind Alabama and Georgia. Ended up being Tennessee as the third best team in the really second best team in the SEC.
What was that team again? What school was it? You said it ended up being who? Tennessee.
Second best team in the SEC? Yeah, Tennessee.
Go Vols.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. I just had to get that in. Will.
The third best quarterback situation, according to Bill, is Tennessee, with Joe Milton, the starter, and Nico Iamaleava, the backup. Adding that his accuracy, Milton's jumping up to 65% last season, is a statistic worth watching moving forward. And says Iamaleava is a heralded 5-star freshman who should have more time to develop. If Milton follows Hooker's footsteps to the NFL, watch out. Yeah. So he's got Tennessee third, Mississippi State fourth.
State? Who does State have?
Will Rogers still.
Will Rogers.
The difference is that they're not running the air raid anymore. First-year coach Zach Arnett is on the record that that's not the offense they're going to run now. Rogers in the last 2 seasons had 71 touchdowns and 17 picks.
Whew.
And former Vandy QB Mike Wright is the backup in Starkville.
Yep.
You got experience on top of talent.
And then they've got Georgia fifth. Bill, I should say he's got Georgia fifth. Bill Bender does.
Over Rattler?
Yep. To me, the one that surprises me here is Kentucky being seventh, because I think Devin Leary in Kentucky might be a better quarterback situation than Georgia's, in my opinion.
You know, one that I'm kind of shocked, but they don't really have a guy, but I like the system, and maybe this is just me and nostalgia of me knowing this guy, but Texas A&M and Petrino being the guy.
Connor Wegman is listed eighth.
Okay.
Eighth in the SEC.
You're confident in the development maybe more
with
him.
Yeah, I've seen Petrino be the quarterback whisperer when he's good and not riding motorcycles, okay? So that's what I'm
Stay off the bike.
Yes, please stay off the bikes. That's the reason I bring their name up. Arkansas, I think, is the biggest question mark, though. Can KJ actually handle it, Josh? I mean, I called you Josh. Wow, Will.
It was
My
red
brother-in-law.
earlier
You call
this
me
week.
Josh?
Then it was
I've been
Josh.
called the dog and Josh.
And brother-in-law.
Where did Josh
this
come from?
my
That's got to be
brother-in-law.
racist.
He's not even texting me right now. That's weird.
So notice the school I'm not mentioning here. Bill Bender has Alabama as the 10th best quarterback situation in the SEC right now. I think it's too low. Ty Simpson is still a 5-star, man. And Tyler Buckner from Notre Dame is not a bad quarterback, and I think he's ultimately the starter.
Mm-hmm.
You don't add a quarterback after spring if you don't think that guy's the starter.
Nobody will, from my understanding, has had anything positive to say out of Alabama about the quarterback position.
Not that I've heard of.
Bama fans that I know are
Same.
upside down about this, though, Will.
Tyler Buckner's not bad.
It's not Alabama standards. That's what I think that's what, as of late, like following up Bryce Young to me is going to be problematic to them because they actually have somebody that played the quarterback position. Without Bryce Young last year, that team loses maybe 2 more games. Imagine that. Like, we're speaking about an Alabama team that has been they've been line stepping with the idea that they could move backwards. Now, again, I'm sure the Alabama purists are hearing me talk right now saying, Tennessee Boomer, stop it, man. Like, no, we're always going to be Bama. But the fact that you don't have a surefire. Think how many years in a row we've thought about the University of Alabama being a strong suitor at the quarterback position. Like, they've been that good for a while. And now that you even got these 4- and 5-star guys that we're not hearing anything about, I don't think this is the Nick Saban rat poison situation. I actually think they're genuinely concerned, especially when you take in another transfer, when you got 5-star and another 4-star in Milroe.
That's the thing, though. Alabama, until Lane Kiffin got there and switched the offense and Nick Saban allowed him to, let's make this clear. Nick Saban was finding success still before that. I mean, he found more after that, but they have now been, Alabama, I'm saying, has been, I don't want to say spoiled, but they've had a good run of quarterbacks. But that has not always been the case at Alabama. And so now you're, to Will's point of maybe not being up to standard with Buckner, this looks like it's a situation now you don't have that Tua Tagovailoa Tua Tagovailoa or Bryce Young.
Yeah,
and so it'll be interesting to see the quarterback battle here and to see if they actually can come out not being the 10th ranked. Is that what Will said? 10th ranked or whatever? I mean, that's a little low.
And it's also interesting to me, too. They have all these issues. They have all these questions at quarterback. And even still in this last recruiting cycle in the 2023, they also signed 2 more 4-star guys. Eli Holstein, who's a 4-star from Louisiana, and Dylan Lonergan out of Georgia, another 4-star guy. At his position, he's ranked 13th. At Eli Holstein, he's ranked 8th.
I just don't think it's a concern for Alabama at all when you've signed one of the best classes in the history of the 247 Sports Composite in 2021.
Very true.
And those guys are going to start playing this year.
Yep.
Like, the reports of Alabama's demise have been greatly exaggerated.
You think so?
I think we have to be careful in just comparing them and Georgia. I think you have to more credit Georgia than you do disparage Alabama. They won 10 games last year. Yes,
Alabama?
they had a generational quarterback, and they couldn't take advantage and get to the playoff with him. But they're still recruiting just as well as they did when they were winning national championships every single year and every other year.
The thing that you mentioned, though, is these players have already been playing, though, too, as far as that 21 class. I'm looking at it right now. I think J.C. Latham is probably going to end up starting there. Tommy Brockmeyer actually transferred to TCU last year.
Right.
You have a guy, Dallas Turner, who's been playing. Kool-Aid McKinstry been playing since a freshman, too. They got wide receivers and running backs. Like, I look at this and I still say, who's going to throw to these guys, too?
Tyler Buckner. Tyler Buckner is a good quarterback.
Okay. We'll see.
And now he has weapons like that?
I will say, this is part of my orange-tinted glasses when evaluating this team. I have no problem with saying that either. I will say that. I do think Alabama's closer to the edge of tipping over than it is on ascending up still.
I just don't think they're tipping over. I just think Georgia's better.
Well, you also got to involve LSU in this, and also everybody
You
else,
do.
A&M.
And Tennessee.
And Tennessee.
Other programs
That's
are
fair.
getting
And
better.
I just think everyone else is getting smarter and better, partly because of NIL.
So where's Alabama in that conversation? To me, it doesn't seem like they're in that same conversation as those other teams. Or maybe we're just that far behind Alabama to where it's just like, okay, the NIL and the signings and the players. Like, they had a historic class last year, too.
Yeah.
They did. But they've always had that. But we've never had this amount of questioning about the University of Alabama and what they're going to do. It's always been a surefire situation. Maybe it's the lack of offensive coordinating, changing of offensive coordinators, too.
It's new this year, too.
I think that has to do with it. Absolutely.
I don't think Nick Saban ways have changed or will change. He has a winning mindset.
Sure.
He very much so.
He has changed his ways, though.
What I'm saying is the standard that he operates in.
Oh, of course.
It's never going to change. But the league does evolve.
Sure.
And at some point, at the top of the hill, you do have to walk down it at some point.
Coming up, your chance to head to Geodis Park with us tomorrow night. Another ticket bundle that we will give to the people. You will have the cue to call coming up here in just a couple of minutes. And what has become quickly the game that is sweeping the nation, MLS Trivia with Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson. On the other side, it's Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone.
Genesis Diamonds never hesitate to expose other jewelers with their high markups and lackluster warranties. The founder of Genesis Diamonds started the company with the determination to turn the whole retail jewelry business upside down with fair and transparent pricing, ironclad warranties, no commission salespeople, and a zero-risk shopping experience. Most recently, Genesis has exposed some insane markups on lab-grown diamonds at other jewelry stores. Some jewelers are making obscene profits on lab-grown diamonds. So don't Don't buy until you get a second opinion from Genesis. Genesis can often sell you the same lab-grown stone for 50 or 60% less than what other stores are charging you. The bottom line, Genesis is not like other stores. They always put the customer first because they are playing the long game and building trusting relationships. If you're getting engaged or married or celebrating a big milestone soon, Genesis is the place to go. They have rings, earrings, bands, bracelet, colored gemstones, exquisite designer jewelry, hand-picked diamonds. They've got what you want at a price you can have confidence in. Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolexes too, located in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Coming up tomorrow night, Nashville SC takes on Inter Miami, which you can hear right here on 104.5 The Zone. And we've got a ticket for you right now here on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Be caller number 10 right now. 10 in honor of number 10 for Nashville Soccer Club, Hani Mukhtar, the best player in the league. You're going to get a Nashville SC ticket bundle, and you're going to join us as NSC takes on Miami tomorrow night. That's a 7:30 kickoff, 7 o'clock pregame coverage. Lucas Panzica and Jalil Anibaba right here on 104.5 The Zone. That ticket bundle gets you a ticket to the game. You're going to get a Nashville SC and RKW hat and a picture with us on the field afterwards. What's not to love? 615-737-1045. Lucky caller number 10, 615-737-1045 as the calls begin to pour in.
Yeah.
Here on this Tuesday morning. That's right. Our MLS fun fact of the day. We're doing a little bit of MLS history, and we have two questions today. We have one that I actually did not know until I was doing my research and found this out. We have another one that I definitely know.
We split yesterday.
To begin with, Andrew Luck's dad, Oliver, used to be the general manager of what Major League Soccer team? Is it the Columbus Crew, New York Red Bulls, Houston Dynamo, or LA Galaxy?
LA Galaxy.
Okay.
Well, they're from Texas, so I'm going to say Houston.
Houston Dynamo is the correct answer.
He's from Houston?
Oliver Luck was the
from
general
Texas.
manager of the Houston Dynamo.
I'm upset.
That's the
with myself.
only reason else I would not have even
I'm
put
upset
that
with
together.
myself on that one right there. That's tough.
Next one, we have two things that you need to choose here. So, which of the following two teams are tied for most MLS Cups in league history with 4? So, out of all these teams, 2 of them have 4 MLS Cups. So, you've got a good chance to get one of these right. Is it DC United, Portland Timbers, LA Galaxy, FC Dallas, Sporting Kansas City, or Atlanta United? 2 of those teams.
Kansas City and Dallas.
Okay.
Kansas City and LA Galaxy.
LA Galaxy is correct. Ramon went 0 for 2. Actually, 0 for 3 today if you count the first question and these 2 as 2 different questions.
That's tough.
LA Galaxy is one of them. I'll give you one more chance to redeem yourself. Who's the other team that has 4 MLS Cups?
DC.
DC United is
There you go.
correct.
Okay.
There he is. Ramon Foster batting .250 today. That's a very acceptable batting
In
average.
today's game, yeah, it's
In
pretty
this
solid.
climate,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Wait, am I not batting anything?
It's expectation.
Well, I was
for you,
just-
Kayla.
I
You're
was-
always
I
batting
was trying to
good. You're
spin
always
zone.
batting
I was
good.
trying to spin zone Ramon. I don't have to spin zone your
You
answers.
know
You
what
were
I'm
2
saying?
for 3.
Like, I'm the one that
I-
needs a pat
You're
on
hitting
the
the
back.
I had
667.
no idea about DC, though. I literally did not know that.
Well, I
They
did.
won the inaugural MLS Cup.
Jeez. So they've been around for a while.
Yeah.
Yes, they have. They're
Okay.
one of the original 10.
Okay.
Jonathan Schaefer has picked a winner.
Jerome Johnson,
Jerome.
McMinnville is going to be coming up.
Welcome, Jerome.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't hear the question.
Okay.
I heard DC United. I just happened to hear
Okay,
DC
that's
United while
fine.
I was answering the
We'll
phone.
allow it.
So, okay.
The first question, Schaefer, was Andrew Luck's dad, Oliver, used to be the GM of what MLS team? Was it LA, Houston, New York Red Bulls, or Columbus Crew?
I'm going to say Columbus Crew.
Houston Dynamo.
Oh, okay.
The correct
Yeah,
answer.
I didn't know that.
They
All right.
actually won MLS Cup with him as the general
Oh,
manager
there you go.
in
Wow.
2006.
Yeah, because I know he's a West Virginia guy in
Smart guy.
Stanford and
Right.
the XFL that first time around. Yeah, but I didn't know that one. Okay.
This next one I'm not going to give you options for.
Okay.
You know one of the 2 teams who have won the most MLS Cups with 4.
Right.
It's DC United.
Yeah.
Because you heard the answer.
Yeah.
Who's the other team with 4 MLS Cups?
My guess is going to be Seattle Sounders,
Mm.
but I'm wrong.
You are wrong.
LA Galaxy.
LA Galaxy.
Nah, that's
what
okay.
I-
That's right.
That's fine.
I was surprised. How many has Seattle won?
I think only 2.
2. Yeah.
Oh, I thought
you're
they won
right.
more than that.
I
Okay.
did too, Shay.
2020 and I want to say like 2014.
Okay.
2015.
Yeah, and I know the LA Galaxy had the Beckham
Yeah.
run there and Landon and all that. So, okay.
Yes, Seattle Sounders in their history.
And DC United won a ton early on when the league
That's
was
what.
first formed.
Yeah, because I had
Yeah.
no clue they won
That part
many.
I did know.
They don't
I was
have
like-
any since I believe 04.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, they dominated early.
4 titles and none in 20 years.
The funny thing was I mentioned to y'all I put Sporting Kansas City in there. Kansas City used to be known as the Kansas City Wizards before they were
I don't
sporting
remember
Kansas
that
City.
at all.
Then you had the Tampa Bay Mutiny, who was
Don't
in the
remember
league.
those at all.
Yeah, that was another
That's
trivia
crazy.
I mean,
question.
I have
thought
to
of
admit,
was Tampa Bay
my
Mutiny.
viewing of MLS prior to Nashville SC was casual at best.
Fair.
I was during that era too. I remember when Freddie Adu was DC United.
Oh,
He
and
was
Freddie Adu was the
Freddie
guy. Yeah, he
Adu.
was DC.
Yeah,
And you would have the Got Milk posters on school PE, like in the
huge.
gym.
Oh, yeah.
Freddie Adu on like the milk advertisements.
Yeah,
was a big thing.
It
Good job by
was.
you, Moan, with DC
I,
United.
I,
Good job.
I remember him growing
Oh,
up. I was
yeah,
like, man, I
Freddie
want to be
Adu.
that cool growing up. And he was younger than me. I was like, how you that good at this age? And did he actually like live up to it fully?
No, not
I
even
didn't
close.
think so. Okay,
He's
Unfortunately
only
for him.
33?
he's
No, yeah.
33.
I mean, he's
Yeah.
younger than Messi is.
Smokes.
Mm-hmm.
He's younger than a lot of players who are still playing at a very high level.
He's just been on the scene for so long, right?
To make a college football comparison, by the way, U.S. Soccer just flipped a 5-star recruit from England. So congratulations to us. We'll throw a tea party in celebration. And that was Talking Soccer. 615-737-1045 is the number if you want to jump in. Coming up in hour number 3, Keith Bulluck will stop by, and we discuss the latest athlete to take a team out of his bio on social media. Here's that attention you asked for. Coming up next on Ramon, Kayla, and Will.
8 o'clock. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com sports desk. The Titans announced the signing of 6 players to their roster, all of whom participated in the Titans rookie minicamp over the weekend. Cornerback L.J. Davis, center James Empey, also cornerback Eric Garrar, wide receiver Gavin Holmes, wide receiver Karis Jackson, and a cornerback Armani Marsh. Select veteran players scheduled to meet with the media at noon today at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. The NFL and NBC Universal announced that the Saturday night game on Wild Card Weekend will be streaming on Peacock. To the NHL, Dallas 2, Seattle 1, Game 7 of that series. Dallas moving on to the Western Conference Finals to take on Vegas. To the NBA Western Conference Finals, Game 1, 7:30 local tip. LA Lakers at Denver tonight. The Braves blanked the Rangers 12-0, slamming 5 2-run home runs.
Runner goes 3-1, hard hit ball to left field. Grossman just turns and admires. It's another 2-run home run, this time for Orlando Arcia, right off the facade of the second deck. And the Braves lengthen the lead. It's now 8-0 here in the 6th inning.
And it got much worse for the Rangers after that. Atlanta snapped the 4-game losing streak. College baseball, 9th-ranked Tennessee will host Belmont 6:30 Eastern time tonight. Final regular season home game for the Vols. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Into the 8 a.m. hour we go on a Tuesday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. A beautiful morning. We'll say it's a good morning to have a good morning. With Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson, Jonathan Schaefer pushing all the right buttons at our 104.5 The Zone studio.
The best producer in the world. The world, Craig. The world.
Not just pushing all of our buttons, but the ones right in front of him as well. My name is Will Bowling. You can join the show at 615-737-1045 on 104.5 The Zone TV. That's YouTube, Twitch, Facebook Live, Twitter Live, as well as on your favorite podcast feed immediately after the show ends every single morning. That's Apple, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, as well as 1045thezone.com. How are we feeling this morning?
Good.
Good.
A whole lot better
Sun's
now.
out
Yeah.
for now.
It's very bright outside.
It is.
I love it.
It get to the point of this summer break where I'm just like, I'm only watching for humidity. That's all that matters to me is how humid is it outside.
Likely going to be humid.
I know,
You know?
Kayla.
Unless you're going on vacay sometime.
Well, yeah, that's fair too, and that's going to be humid in other places too. So it's just that time of the year. Like, and we're in a crazy situation too because in the studio, even I'm wearing like a light long sleeve right now, but it's actually kind of cool in here.
I know.
You know what I'm saying?
You step out and you're like shedding the layers. I got my coat on here. Light jacket.
You all right, buddy?
Yep.
Oh, okay. That's fair.
What happened?
I thought you dropped something or knocked something over. That's all. Just checking for you. See what your Nashville SC shirt on today, too.
That's right.
Okay.
How to represent.
Yeah, all right. I'm here for it.
Busy
Represent
week for
tomorrow.
the Boys and Gold. That's right.
It is.
Going to be good weather tomorrow night at Geodis Park. So there's another athlete that has taken his team out of his social media bio, and I really forgot how to care about this. But Quinnen Williams is up next.
Oh, God.
As he attempts to get more money than Jeffrey Simmons did with the Tennessee Titans. And Spot Track and Mike Giannitti believes he probably will. Changed his Twitter bio to say defensive tackle 4... ... Which is a little bit more aggressive than what Jeffrey Simmons did when he just kind of scrubbed his whole social media.
Yeah, he just archived his, didn't he?
I hate that this is a conversation so much.
You know what? For Quinnen Williams, one, I will say the guy's good. He is good. I remember playing him. I remember watching him here at the draft in 2019. And then I played against him. I was like, all right, kid, you got something to you. Like, he is actually pretty good, man. He's able to rush, able to stop the run well. And the best thing going for him right now, y'all, he's the last one of this group.
Yes.
He's the last one
Where
of
does he
this
play
group.
now?
And in New York, Kayla. Boom.
Yep.
He's got two things going for him.
Does that help if you are in a bigger market push that even more. I don't want to like disparage
Yeah.
that we're in Nashville, Tennessee, but it is what it is. Like New York is New York. And it's always going to get so much more even attention when I feel like it comes to getting the money.
Oh, yeah. I think it does matter. I'll say this. It does have the classification of the player. If he's just a dude, okay, cool. You just mad about getting him. He's a superstar. Jeff's a superstar. His contract meant something, right? Quentin, yes. Being in New York, you know what the other thing that's working for him too, Kayla? The fact that he's in that New York market. He plays for a team that had the NFL adjust scheduling because they ended up taking on a quarterback by the name of Aaron. All things in New York are pointing to y'all better get on board because we got an opportunity to win a Super Bowl right now because they
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, man, they got a guy like him, and Quentin Williams is a part of that team that they hope can get them to a Super Bowl. So pay him is what they're saying. Fan pressure matters. I feel like more in New York.
Also, this is huge for his agent Nicole Lynn. Quentin Williams was actually one of her first big clients. So this could be, she's gotten some paydays for her clients recently, including Jalen Hurts. This could be a biggie too. So wow.
Was it her or one of her clients that said, "Where can I borrow Brink's truck"? Was that her?
That was her.
I think it was her.
It wasn't like Jalen Ramsey showing up in one when he went to Jacksonville camp a few years back.
Which I thought was kind of funny. But
That was kind of funny right there. Good for her. Yeah, he
That's
did sign with her early on. I got to give it to her. As it stands right now, man, her clients are well above board.
and if she gets this biggie signed,
Last one of this group, Jeff Dexter, who's
And him.
and didn't Washington pay their defensive tackle too, or was that last year? Either way, he's the last one of this bunch. So that speaks a lot about how much he's going to get paid. He wants 25 plus a year. Goodness.
That would be Deron Payne
Deron Payne.
oh yeah, okay.
that you were talking about.
Deron Payne.
So he got paid too.
Yeah, Deron Payne. Dexter did. Jeff did.
Yep.
Yeah, Deron Payne just signed 4 years, $14 million.
You know what Deron Payne sounds
Or
like?
4 years, $90 million.
Yes.
Deron Payne.
4 years, $90 million for him with a $28 million signing bonus. Jeffrey Simmons, a little over $23 million.
Yep.
Mike Janidia Spot Check projects that Leonard Williams, or Quentin Williams, not Leonard, him too.
Him too?
Quentin Williams will get a $26 million a year.
Okay.
26.6 was the projection. So Jeff will not be the second highest paid D lineman for very long, I would imagine.
Hey, Miss Amy, you did it early enough.
I know,
You
right?
did it early enough, Titans brass. Y'all got that deal before. This one hit up to $26 million. It's only right.
It's a welcomed change from the Titans organization. Getting a deal done before everyone else resets the market.
Yeah. That's big time, man. Who would ever thought we'd see D tackles get this type of jump in numbers? But again,
We're here.
when you change your social media bio, things change, right?
How much do the taxes in states like New York and California affect contract negotiations?
$26 million a year for a guy like him, he'll bring home after taxes probably close to 11. If we're talking about a 26 average, the New York, New Jersey tax, paying into everything, agent fees, he probably clear about 11.
Yeah.
So how
Close
much
to
is a
12.
player or an agent fighting for that in cities like New York? You talk about negotiations being more upfront, and maybe there's a New York tax when it comes to Jets and Giants contracts. I think there like literally is a New York tax because the taxes are higher.
They are higher. I think what happens is agents do try to get more in those markets, but what a different negotiating team will say, let's go to Nashville, okay?
Yep.
Let's say if you played in Nashville, you would tell a guy like him, hey, look, in New York, you're going to have to ask for 28. Here, we can pay you 23 and it's still going to be the same check.
Right.
It's more of the smaller market, less tax. I ain't going to say smaller market, less tax states that you can have that conversation about. If I'm deciding, man, I want to go play in New York, but I'm going to make more in Tennessee, because of tax situations, that is the bargaining chip for a state like Tennessee. Florida, Texas, I think is another one. And Denver, Colorado, I mean.
You would know more than me.
Yeah, I don't know if
I've only ever lived
I
in
don't-
one
Vegas
state.
is
in my
another.
life.
Vegas, yeah.
Vegas is another city, too. It pays to play in Vegas because of the taxes, if I'm not mistaken.
This is the only state I've ever lived in, so I'm not the source on that. Yeah.
But you look at that, though.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
When it comes down to, let's say if Pittsburgh offer you 7, that's about 5 in Tennessee after
Right.
taxes break down.
Let's go to the phone line, 615-737-1045 to Evan up next with us this morning. What's up, Evan?
Good morning, Evan.
What's going on, guys? Thanks for taking my call. I want to thank you guys. I've actually been hospitalized since May 3rd.
Oh, goodness.
And been listening to you guys off and on. Just helps me pass the time a little bit. I'm on the mend, though. I'm getting better, hopefully getting discharged today. Quick pettiness. I've been around a lot of people that have been in college for 6 years. They call them doctors up here. I guess they call them different in Georgia. But my question is, I've had a lot of time. I've kind of gone through the tea leaves, reading Jim White's mailbag. They keep talking about like receiver, and I know this has been talked about ad nauseum, but like there's something coming, or there's another move coming. Just what could that be? And at this point, does it have to be a trade for a decent player for Titans fans to just kind of chill on it all? And again, thank you guys.
Thank
Hey,
you.
get better.
Thank you, Evan. Get well
Thank
soon,
you.
man.
I hope you get discharged today.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, that is a fascinating conversation. The trade conversation we've all had has kind of died down since the draft.
It has, and I said yesterday, I feel like when teams make their cuts in training camp, the Titans are going to go receiver shopping.
Yeah.
I see that being the case. I do.
I think that's the most realistic option at this point because the trades you've made for Robert Woods and Julio Jones didn't really work out too well for you. And then even Josh Reynolds, the guy you signed, didn't really work out too well for you either.
Sure did.
So do you think it's a case where they have these guys in camp, they see what they can do? If they're not satisfied with what they get, then they go and say, okay, what's left on the market?
Oh, yeah. And one thing, too, coaches can't wait to tell you, look, we're watching 31 other films around the league. We are actually scouting, too.
Because when they get released, they are out there, too.
That does matter, but you also have to ask that question. If you're getting cut from the Rams or
yes.
New Orleans, then
Yes.
what are you actually as a player? But
Yes.
at this point, it's all about help. Like it really is all about help. Like who actually can be a threat? And at that point, I think the philosophy of getting a guy post camp cuts or after mini camp is you got to be specific in what you're looking for in a player too. Is this somebody that can take the top off, or are you going for a gadget guy? That trade conversation, Will, Kayla, listeners, I just don't know.
Do they
And then-
really need a veteran in there? Or is that just us being like the typical, they need a veteran presence? Because
How
I
much-
feel like that's always
A
something
wide
that,
receiver?
yes.
I don't
much-
care if it's a veteran or not.
That's what I was
I just need a body that can catch footballs.
In depth.
I don't care how old they are.
No, me either.
No, I'm just simply asking for the fact we always kind of hear a
Talk about
storyline of,
vets.
they need a veteran presence in that room.
Well, I don't think that's going to be the case. I just think you need bodies, Kayla, because and quality, whatever the age is at this point, too. Like it has to be quality more than anything. Like they got to be digging deep for guys at this point right now to try to figure out what works for this Tennessee Titans offense.
Coming up next, Keith Bulluck joins us. We'll ask him if he's willing to play wide receiver for the Titans next year.
Yeah.
And we'll ask him the same question we asked Kevin Dyson as well yesterday. What does he remember the most about rookie minicamp, and what is the biggest benefit for a player like Will Levis or Peter Skoronski out of the first minicamp opportunity here at St. Thomas Sports Park? Keith Bulluck on the other side. It's Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone. Tuesday morning continues here on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors with Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson. I'm Will Bowling. Talking Titans this morning with our guy, Keith Bulluck, who joins us to the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline right now. Good morning, Keith. How are you?
Good morning, Will. How's it going? Kayla, Ramon,
Morning,
What's up?
Bully. How are you?
chilling on
Chilling.
this Monday. Driving through Chick-fil-A, picking up a little breakfast burrito.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. On a Monday.
Somebody just sniped his phone line as he said
Monday.
Chick-fil-A.
Tuesday.
He said on a Monday.
Oh, he said on a Monday.
He said on a Monday.
He's thinking Mr. Monday night.
Keith, you still there?
It's just there.
Huh, that's all
I
that
think we-
was.
I think we lost Keith.
Chick-fil-A didn't like that free shout out. That's all that was.
Yeah, somebody from Wendy's just sniped Keith
Yeah, they're
Bulluck
like,
right there.
Ooh. It's like, don't you have your own restaurant, Bully, huh? Yeah, take that one.
He does.
Yeah.
He's got good stuff there, too.
Yeah.
We'll get back with Keith here in a
That
minute.
was so funny.
And is it officially Monday still?
It is Tuesday.
Can we play that game with
My
Bully?
dudes.
We can't play that game with Bully.
I don't know if that was when he dropped out or not.
So that's what's crazy. Shafe played that Juvenile coming back, and
That was-
then the real Juvenile
that was lit,
call
by
by
the
Bully.
way.
Yeah, it was. It was an
That's
awesome
lit.
song right there.
All right, let's see if we can go back and reconnect with Keith here. You got us?
Yeah. Running back. I don't know what happened. I heard you guys loud and clear.
Somebody sniped you. I don't know what happened
That's all
either.
that was.
Keith, are you willing to come back and play wide receiver for the Titans? I think they've got a need there moving forward this offseason.
Nah, you know what? I'm good.
Okay.
You know what? You don't get a lot of love in that offense at wide receiver. So, that wouldn't be the first position I would choose.
Whoa.
Ooh, Bully, that is
Spitting
correct, man.
facts.
Well, let's just go there then. Will, you want to carry on?
Well, you go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, what does that mean for a guy that in free agency has options to either go here or somewhere else? How likely are you to come here when you speak about those type of situations?
Well, I mean, I said that just, outside looking in. I don't know what the conversation is going to be between, Rand and Mike Vrabel and whoever that prospect is. I know that there is opportunity for you to come in and emerge. I always believe that, especially here, because there is no dominant number one or dominant number two or, number three for that matter. I feel like it's up in the air. So if you can get I heard you guys speaking about maybe a veteran that gets or a younger, whoever type player, wide receiver gets maybe released in camp or maybe even in these mini camps comes in and is hungry and wants to emerge. And, obviously it wouldn't be a high priced player, but someone that wants to get that top dollar. I feel like this is a perfect space and platform. Tannehill has showed that he can make the throws that needs to be made if he has, the targets out there. And I just think that, right now the shelf is pretty depleted from the wide receiver standpoint for the Titans. But there are guys out there, they just have to be hungry enough, because I believe that, look, if you, and Moan, if you come in and you show that you're making plays and that, in camp and in practice is one thing, and then you get to, preseason games is another, but you get into game 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it becomes consistent. You're the guy.
Yeah. Well, I have to ask you, man, as a defender, I know you still have your defensive mindset to this day. While playing, though, and watching the game and reviewing, however you consume it now, has a two tight end dominated offense ever scared you as a defender? Like, what is the pros of it, or how did you ever view it as a defender when you don't have strong wide receiver threats?
Well, this game is about matchups. So a two tight end set again. So for example, it would be me and Michael Griffin. Michael Griffin would be on one tight end, I'd be on the other. That's how we would match up back in the day on our defenses. So that really wouldn't pose too much of a threat. You have two very solid corner guys on, tight ends. But we never played against a Gonzalez Gronk type situation. You know what I'm saying? I haven't really seen anything in the NFL since that, and we always looked at that as like, that's kind of scary, because if you just have an Antonio Gates or just a Gronk, yeah, we can handle that. We can either, double him, or if you have someone that can just win that one-on-one matchup, then, you kind of take that and that part out of the game. So like, even in my career, I was the matchup guy until we got Griff, but it was either I got Gonzalez or I got Gates or it was never anybody else that you necessarily had to worry about. So if you can put that together, it creates a lot of matchups, and especially with Derrick Henry as the dot, because you could spread those two guys out, and now you can run Derrick Henry up the gut with traps, counters, all those different things, and it'll be hard for those other guys to get into the box.
How did you ever view the Patriots situations with Gronk and Aaron Hernandez? Did you think that is, what the Titans team have been trying to do for a little while, considering you don't have much in the cupboard when it comes down to the wide receiver room? Like, is that a big threat for teams that can kind of have that type of style with what we know about Wiley and also Chig?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that the Titans have that, because I don't know too much about Wiley. Chig showed, signs last year as a rookie, but you always know once you show some things, the next year is always different.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily know that the Titans have that now. Now, if they're trying to put that together, that could definitely pose some matchups. But like I said, the Titans are an unproven offense at this point, besides the factors that we do know is Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill.
So, Keith, I don't think we've talked to you since the draft, and 0 defensive players taken in the draft. However, they have signed a few DBs actually, out of this rookie mini camp. Is that just a sign of where the Titans are at right now, just offensively depleted, like you said? Or do you feel like maybe there probably was a guy or two that you should have maybe taken defensively?
I think the Titans did their draft for defense in the free agency. They brought on 3-4 guys and maybe even a fifth, and plugged in some areas that they felt that were needed in free agency. The Titans really, hang their hat on their defense. So, bringing in veterans that have made plays in this league that, maybe feel that are ready to emerge and, become a household name on another team. I think those are the type of guys that, Rand and Mike Vrabel brought in. I feel like in the draft, offense is, without them saying it, offense is really what's needed. So I guess they, went to, put all their money there and, hopefully something pans out. But I think the Titans have always definitely been a team that, look, if we can, beat you up on defense, we'll have enough offense to score some points.
So there were so many people, Titans fans specifically, that were not happy, with drafting Will Levis in particular. Then we see him in minicamp for really one day, at least the media did, and got to talk to him, and very well-respected guy when you talk to him. He speaks well, hard worker, you can tell. But do you feel like this guy is going to be in that prove-it mode and have that pressure to be a starter this year?
I mean, if that's what they're asking of him, to be a starter this year, yeah, I mean, he's going to have to be in the prove-it mode. That's pretty interesting, because to me, honestly, and like obviously nothing against Will Levis, I just think that 90% of the quarterbacks that come into this league stink and they become backups or third string players. You know what I'm saying? So they're all in a prove-it mode. So yeah, I think quarterbacks are in a prove-it mode their first 3 or 4 years, to be fair. You know what I mean? And it's all about how much development an organization puts into a quarterback. Prime example is, okay, they got Malik last year in the 3rd round, who was supposed to be a first-round draft pick. They worked with him. He was, during all this time, he looks like this, he looks like that. We get him out there. They get him out there, and they say, okay, he's a little bit behind. He still needs to be developed. All right, now we're moving forward. Six months later, we're drafting a 2nd-round draft pick. So you just hope that, Will Levis comes in, and obviously Malik came in last year doing all the right things, saying all the right things, all of those things that Will Levis is going to do until he has to get on the field. So, obviously he did some good things at Kentucky. Like, I don't even know what type of quarterback he was at Kentucky, because Kentucky didn't win. And when you hear about him, I hear people saying, oh, one year was better than the other because there were injuries. It seems like they're making excuses for performances. And like I say, nothing against Will Levis. This is just what I hear. And at the end of the day, all I know is he had double interceptions, or double picks in his junior and senior year, which means nothing. But that's why it's always prove it mode.
Keith, how frustrating is that to you that it just seems like quarterback prospects are always the ones who get the most excuses? Like, or Ramon's talked to us about this all the time, where he said, like, as an undrafted guy, it's incredible how many of these dudes are just not great football players, yet are put on a pedestal because of what they could be, right?
Yeah, Bully. I'm always attacking first rounder, man. You know where my heart lay, okay?
Hey, I feel you, because it is funny, man, because you see. And, like, it's unfortunate for these guys because even, like, Will Levis, the question we just asked, can he be a starter? It's like, man, can he learn the playbook? Can he learn? And, like I said, I don't know anything about him. This is just me just speaking. You know what I mean? So these are all the things, besides becoming a starter, all the things that he has to even grasp. Like, how do I get from my new house to the facility? Like, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I think a lot goes into the quarterback position just because of the hype machine of the NFL. I feel like that's how they keep fans interested. I had an opportunity to play with a first round quarterback in Vince Young, and the media and social media and all those things weren't even at the magnitude that it is now. So I could only imagine. And and he won Rookie of the Year. So, I just feel that it's tough for these young kids that come in. But to be fair to them, too, like they've been doing this since, Elite 11, like all these 7-on-7 camps. And to get more to answer your question, Will, quarterbacks have got to be pampered. They got to be kind of like coddled a little bit because and Ramon can speak to this more later, I guess. But you can put them in the tank, and you don't want to put your quarterbacks in the tank because they'll never come out. And what that means is, I don't know what that means. It just means they're in the tank. They just,
Sure.
Sports, Will.
Well, what that means is they'll find another one the next year.
Yeah, because they mentally can't get out of the place that they were. It was just too much on them. So mentally, they're just tanked.
Keith, we've been asking guys these last couple of weeks what they remember most about their rookie minicamp experiences with minicamp going on this past week. Is there one thing you remember from your first basically visit to Tennessee as a player?
Yeah, obviously the weather outside was hot.
Yes.
Exactly what Dyson said as his first answer there too.
It's like, and I was training in California breeze and everything. It was hot. And Aaron Kenny was our second round draft pick. Billy Bulluck was our 7th round quarterback. I just remember Aaron Kenny giving me the business, just mossing me left and right. It was 6'5", 265, very athletic, just and then when I watched on film, I was always just an inch. Like, football is a game of inches. Well, that whole week I was an inch away, and Greg Williams let me know. So, I kind of had to put some work in. But that's what I'm saying. So off my first mini camp, people were probably scratching their heads like, what's up? Who did we draft?
Keith, did you see, man, as we speak about just the game in general, did you see the NFL ever morphing into this? We had a conversation earlier in our 6 o'clock. We were just speaking about Peacock getting a playoff game exclusively on streaming. Like, we're speaking about them being at the drop of a dime selling the weekend for $110 million. Did you ever imagine coming in when you came in, dog, that we see the NFL be this type of monster?
Nah, not at all, because obviously we didn't realize the business side, but then even we are fortunate enough to have, 10, 11-year careers and to kind of understand and acknowledge the business side. And I still didn't, and I was on my way out when, Twitter was a thing. I remember my last year with the Titans, we played in Dallas the first preseason game of the new Jerry World, and I remember tweeting before that game, and I think that was the last time I tweeted during you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't even know. It was just it was crazy. So I can only imagine, obviously the sponsorship dollars, the way that the players are able to make money individually if they wanted to, and just how many entities have come into play in the NFL when before it was just NBC, CBS, and ESPN.
Right.
Keith Bulluck has been our guest this morning here on Ramon, Kayla, and Will at KBull53, where you can find him on Twitter. Keith, you always bring it, man. Thank you.
Appreciate it,
Thanks,
brother.
Bully.
You guys have a great week.
Yes, sir.
You too.
Absolutely. I mean, I feel like one of the mottos of this show is to not put quarterbacks on pedestals. I'm not going to dive all the way into offensive line talk all the time.
I know.
But this is one area where I will give you a pass that you're right.
I was always told by somebody, legitimately, like, give him 3 years. Bully even said that without us even talking about it. It's like, okay, let's just think about Chig. He was speaking about Chig. Like, what you do in year one, awesome.
Yeah.
And then the league adjusts. The quarterback got a 3-year window of realizing what you are as a pro. If you see something in your quarterback after 3 years, then you roll with him. That's when the 5th-year option comes up. That's when you realize this guy's a true pro. That freshman hype, the RG3 is what we'll call it, right? The RG3 effect came in and
Michael Vick.
Vince
Young.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, like I'm looking at a Baker, another guy,
Yeah.
Johnny Manziel. Like
Manziel,
they
yeah.
took the league by storm. They took the league, and truthfully, I actually thought Patrick Mahomes was a gimmick too.
Yeah, and we didn't get to see him for a minute.
I did, but Kayla, like I was just thinking, like, man, whatever.
Broken the mold.
Sure.
He whatever. This dude, man, he got 1 year of this. We're gonna light him up next year if we see him.
Right.
Wrong.
Yeah.
Wrong.
And then you got Trevor Lawrence, which was a really kind of interesting situation in itself because he had a lot of hype. He was the guy. We kind of knew this guy's going to have success. And then he goes to Jacksonville that first year. And I think the only reason why he didn't get as much like, oh my gosh, he's not going to be it, is because of his head coach.
But he's still a case study to me. Last year to me still says, like, coming into year 3 for him this year,
That's
we get to
big.
see what Trevor Lawrence is going to be. Their over-under is 10 games. We spoke about that earlier.
Yep.
And the pressure's on.
He should be able to get 5, 6 of those by himself. If he's not able to do that this year, then there's a question mark behind him. Simply because whether it's the system of Doug Peterson or is he as good as we thought he was as a pro?
Yeah, I love the quote from Keith. 90% of the quarterbacks who come in this league stink.
Yep.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong at
He's
all.
not wrong at all.
Coming up next, the lowest attendance number I have ever seen announced at a sporting event, a major sporting event in the United States. I'm going to give a guess to Ramon and Kayla on what the Oakland A's attendance was last night. Coming up next on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Actually, we're not going to include the possum in that attendance, by the way. So as y'all do the math, we're not counting the feral cats or the possum.
Or the babies.
In a stadium that should be built in Tennessee. Anyway, coming up next, Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone. Your Tuesday morning rolls on right here on 104.5 The Zone. We are Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. The Oakland A's did not have many fans in their stadium yesterday, and we play a bonus game of trivia today. How many fans were at the Oakland A's game last night?
Are we going Price is Right rules?
We are not going Price is Right rules. We are going closest to the number.
Closest to the pin.
On either side.
I think we should have an Oakland A's minute that is regular on this show.
Just with the attendance numbers?
Where we just guess how many people were at their game.
Okay.
Well, I mean, they don't have many minutes left inside of that city because
Yeah.
they just bought land in Vegas.
They might still have 3 more years.
Ooh.
First, say how much it holds, just so people know.
Well, I mean,
Stadium hold, what, 60,000?
No.
no, not for
It's
baseball.
a football stadium, ain't it?
Not for baseball.
Oh, okay.
They put tarps
Yeah.
over in center field. The Oakland Alameda County Coliseum has a baseball capacity of 46,847. Actually, I think it's
Okay.
the biggest stadium in Major League Baseball
That's all right.
for the smallest fan base. Actually, not the smallest fan base, the angriest fan base, I should say.
All right, crowd
And
for
so they should be.
game. I'll step out on this one. Let's go 9,800 people.
Okay. That would be less than some major college baseball programs.
Yep, fair.
So that's a low number.
9,800.
Okay. Kayla?
Oh God, I wanted to go lower. Okay, I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'll go 8,000.
8,000. Okay. Jonathan Schaefer?
Oh, I'm going like 2,000.
Specifically, how much?
Oh,
Oh boy.
2245.
Oh, Jonathan Schaefer by far is the winner.
Oh
What?
boy.
2,064 fans were in attendance last night.
Oh my.
And that is the announced attendance.
No.
So that
Will.
is 4% of their seating capacity. It doesn't count the feral cats that run around in the boarded off portions of the stadium. I'm not kidding. There are legitimately wild animals that run around. The Titans have a raccoon mascot. They have actual raccoons in their stadium. It is the least amount of fans at an Oakland home game in 40 plus years.
Oh boy.
Oakland's new women's soccer club, Oakland Soul SC, drew 5,000 fans this week, 10 miles away.
That's
Just to
embarrassing.
put it into perspective.
Like there
My
are
goodness.
fans there. To put like that's the thing is like Oakland has sports fans. It's not an Oakland problem.
Right.
That is embarrassing.
This
man.
is an ownership group that has legitimately given Oakland the worst team in pro sports right now, and it's not close. And now they have signed a deal to move to Vegas on the Strip.
That
I'm
is
sure guys
embarrassing.
are ecstatic.
I feel bad for that city. I really do.
In general, you do.
I really do.
It's
yeah.
a dangerous city.
It's a shame.
It's a dangerous city.
And what's so crazy is it has so much potential. And
I
the
know.
weather is very cool.
I
It's got a lot of
know.
culture.
It's-
lot of culture
Yes.
there. Yeah.
If they tried to like revamp and do, I mean, it is. It would be really cool.
there. That's so bad, man. 2,000 people showed up to an MLB game. Like we've seen high school football games here from 1A,
Right.
from one class 1A.
Well, Tony Kemp, who's a Vandy boy, probably
Golly.
seen miles more fans in the SEC when he was playing, and he's playing in front of that.
How are they able to actually pay them? Like that's the real question. They're losing money.
I mean, Tennessee has one of the smallest baseball stadiums in college baseball, and they doubled that
Yep.
number as their average a year ago.
I had that this weekend against Kentucky.
3 teams in college baseball averaged over 10,000 fans per game last year. Arkansas, LSU, and Mississippi State. Tennessee was 14th,
Yep.
despite having one of the smallest ballparks in baseball.
That's a cold piece of work right there, Will.
I mean, LSU outdraws the Marlins regularly, like over an entire season.
You want to hear what's even worse than all of that, Will? It's the facilities in some of these SEC programs are way better than what the A's have, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Like, that's what blows my
That's fair.
mind about it. Like, you go to the pros to get the best of the best. No, you get a possum
Yeah, not in Oakland.
inside of your announcer's room.
Well,
You get a possum.
The fact that there's a possum that is still living in the visitors' radio
You get a
booth.
possum, and you get a
You get a
possum,
possum.
and you get a possum.
well, and the football team, it wasn't far behind. I mean, the Raiders didn't play there too long ago.
That's very true,
And
Kayla.
the bowels of that place, ugh.
Ugh.
The bowels, literally.
I remember that being a big deal when you were going to play in the black hole. It's like, oh, God, here we go.
Oh, yeah.
You're playing Raiders fans. They're different.
Oh my gosh, the coach tells them stay up in the stands, so you're fine. There's no need. Don't start with them because when they start with you, it will not end. You might have to meet them in the parking lot.
The Titans' final game against the Oakland Raiders is a very, very memorable one.
Why is that?
Because we killed them.
Literally.
2019.
Yeah.
Wasn't that 42-21, I believe, was the final score. Tannehill had a 95-yard touchdown pass to A.J. Brown in that game, standing on first base.
To who? Never heard of him. Nah, I'm playing. I kid. Most people would love to forget about AJ, but we can't.
Incredible. Coming up next, the next wave of conference expansion has been hypothesized by SI.com's Ross Dellinger. We've got a former Tennessee athletic director who reportedly got in a shouting match at the beach this morning. On purpose, because the ACC meetings are getting feisty on a Tuesday morning. We'll tell you the details coming up next on 104.5 The Zone.
9 o'clock from the Superbook.com sports desk. I'm Jonathan Schaefer. The Titans announced the signing of 6 players to their roster, all of whom participated in the Titans rookie minicamp over the weekend. Cornerback L.J. Davis, center James Empey, also cornerback Eric Garrar, wide receiver Gavin Holmes, wide receiver Karis Jackson, and cornerback Armani Marsh. Select veteran players are scheduled to meet with the media at noon today at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. The NFL and NBC Universal announced that the Saturday night game on Wild Card Weekend will be on Peacock. It'll be streaming. NHL playoffs last night, Dallas 2, Seattle 1. Game 7 of that one as the Stars advance to the Western Conference Finals to take on Vegas. I know Preds fans hate Vegas for a lot of reasons. LA Lakers at Denver tonight, Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals in the association. 7:30 tip for that, the local time start. The Braves blanked the Rangers 12-0, slamming 5 two-run homers. Atlanta snapped the 4-game losing streak. And to college baseball, 9th-ranked Tennessee will host Belmont, 6:30 Eastern Time, 5:30 Central. That's going on tonight, the final regular season home game for Tennessee. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once. On your home for the Titans and the Vols, this is 104.5 The Zone.
Here we go into the fourth and final hour of our Tuesday morning edition of Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. We're powered by a little bit of 8th and Roast this morning as well. Yeah. Shout out to our guy Q hooking us up today. I've legitimately had one of these small cups of coffee every segment for the last hour and a half.
Yes,
We're just making it work on a
we
Tuesday
are.
morning with the Bowen Foster and Kayla Anderson. Jonathan Schaefer, our producer.
The best producer! Wow!
My name is Will Bowling. We have got official dates and times of Tennessee Titans 2023 preseason games. Clear the schedule for the Will Levis Mania that begins on Saturday, August 12th in Chicago. That's noon Central Time. Saturday, August the 19th in Minnesota against the Vikings. That is 7 p.m. Central Time. And Friday, August the 25th against the New England Patriots at Nissan Stadium, a 7:15 p.m. Central Time start.
There we go.
Very doable games right there. Well, the home game against the Patriots is a good one. I gotta start asking questions of players I know still around the league. Like, which game is the dress rehearsal one? Which one do you take more serious? Is it the second or third game? The second game was first game was like 15 plays. When it was a 4-game model. Second game was about 20, 25. The third game is where you got 40, maybe 50 plays in. And I'm just thinking to myself, where do you actually get your live reps in the stadiums now? Is it game 2 or game 3? Because most of the time, my mindset in going the old ways of the 4-game preseason was by the 4th game, I may have one series for you. That series could be 5 plays, and I'm out because I need to save myself for the season. You're at a point right now where it seems like vets could play most of the third game in this model. So I have to ask that question to the guys I know still around the league, man, because those live reps you need. You don't want to go into week 1 of the season just rusty as heck, you know?
Right. That's why I felt last year was the game 3 is where we saw a majority of, now not all of them, but if we were going to see a starter, it was going to be in game 3 last year. And then, Will, didn't you mention potentially the joint practices could potentially be with New England this year?
Jim Wyatt mentioned it with us last week that either Minnesota or New England would make sense for joint practices. That would require the Titans being out of town for an entire week. They hosted joint practices, of course, last season with Arizona and with Tampa before or after they went to Tampa 2 years ago.
Yep.
In 2021.
Yeah. Can you do something for me?
Hmm?
Never mind. You said 21, and I said, can you do something for me? I was just
It's not your best.
It's not my best.
Wasn't your worst.
Wasn't my worst.
But it wasn't your
At
best.
least it wasn't my worst, Will.
I just expect more from you.
You just said 21. I was just thinking of the Drake song. Can you do something for me? That's all that was.
Could you hit a little rich flex for me?
How deep I gotta dig for you to pipe down?
Thanks so
I'm
much.
going to pipe down now.
That was a
That's
C,
on me.
Moan.
That was a C.
Yeah.
It's passing. For the ones that got it, they picked it up.
It was a D.
Oh, he's going to be a hard teacher today.
I got to go to summer school.
Tough.
I didn't say that.
Well, the last D I got put me in summer school.
Oof.
Well,
I
it was
hated
you
summer
problem.
school.
That was 2002, sophomore year. Hated summer
I know,
school.
I did too.
You had summer school
one
too?
year because I had to make sure I was gonna with credits. I wanted to make sure. You're talking to a crazy person here who worried about credits.
You said it, not me.
I told you I dreamed about it like years after that I
Yeah.
was able to graduate on time. Yeah, so I took summer classes and did not like it.
No, I'm talking about in high school. I had to.
No,
I
I'm talking
had
about
to.
college.
Okay, I took summer classes all the time. That was my only means of getting another check in college.
Okay,
We
you took
used to get-
high school?
Yeah, that's
I didn't
what I'm
even know they
telling you.
offered that.
Friggin'
Oh, yeah.
failed geometry, man.
Okay.
Made a D, and I'm talking about borderline D. I'm like 1 point away from a C. I'm like, really? Made an A in summer school though. Yeah, I absolutely hated it, man. Absolutely hated it.
So your summer was headed at a different angle at that point.
It was. My brother was graduating.
Oh, gosh, you didn't
and
pick that up, did you?
I did not pick that up. Did not. Which is crazy.
Angle?
I worked all, my job was working angles.
Sorry, I was being obtuse.
Yeah, it was.
See why I had to go to summer school now? No, somebody was staring in the window right
I
now.
saw
What the
that.
heck
I
is going
was
on?
creeping
So
over
whatever
there.
joke you had for me, I missed it. I was like, who is staring us
No,
down
you were
here?
looking me in the eye when I said the joke.
But
You
I'm
just
still
didn't.
thinking about what happened over there.
All right.
Is that okay?
Now you're the one being obtuse.
I am being obtuse right now. I mean, come on.
That's a geometry
It's
joke,
real
but
cute.
you would know that if you didn't get a D in geometry.
I knew that. It was just, look, it was a conspiracy theory about humbling me in high school. That's what that was.
I bet.
I never
And it
had to do
worked, right?
summer school.
You didn't?
No.
In any capacity?
Mm-mm.
It was fun, though. I will say that. I had
Fun?
a good
You
time.
just said you hated it.
I did hate it, but the actual class and course and the people I was in there with.
Because they were
like,
probably like, yeah, whatever.
I did have to, like I was an honors kid. So
Sure.
I took class with the same people all the time
Yep.
throughout
Brain
high
on
school.
Ramon.
Yeah.
I mean, senior class president, that's bragging camp's going pretty good, Rep B. But senior class president, like, so I took class with the same group of kids throughout the
Yeah.
entire high school tenure. So me having a breakup of like seeing different folks in my class, I was like, I see why y'all act out in classes and fail. This is a good time. And
You would have been the type of
Not all
guy who
buttoned
would have
up.
you would have gotten me in trouble in class, but you wouldn't have gotten in trouble. Like I feel
Yep.
like Ramon is the guy who talks to you at the back of the class,
Yep.
and the teacher turns around and hears your response to Ramon, and Ramon's good, like, oh sorry, man.
Yep.
And Ramon's the one that's off scot free, and you're the one that gets in trouble. Tell me I'm wrong.
know me.
Tell me I'm wrong. So you're laughing because
Yep.
you know I'm 100% right.
Moan, I'm not gonna lie, I was that girl. I was the same exact way.
Really?
I would be that one in the back laughing, and they'd be like, "What's going on back there?" It wouldn't be Kayla get in trouble
The teacher's
because
like,
No,
Kayla
that-
got good grades.
That surprises me
I
0%.
made good grades too, Will. My bad.
but Will,
dog.
were you like that at all? Did you cause any chaos?
You had.
I
to.
could
I was
see
with
you
my
being,
friends,
yeah,
but not really. No, I was kind of I was just trying to stay awake
Yeah,
because when I was doing 2 days running wise, like
Yeah.
you'd be up at 6 doing
Mm-hmm.
a workout, and then you'd have another one later, and then you'd have like had all the singing stuff and all the like fine arts I did.
Yeah.
It was a lot
Hey.
towards the end there in the AP classes. I'm just trying to literally stay awake.
yeah. I was wearing my pajamas senior year.
In high school?
Oh yeah, I wasn't
Really?
messing with dressing up anymore at that point.
We had
I
dress
was
code.
done. Oh
all
God,
the
not
way
me.
through.
We did too. We had uniform status by
Yeah.
the time I graduated. Well, we
Right.
had to be shirts tucked in.
Yep,
Is
same.
what we were.
I had my nose pierced. Was wearing my sweats.
Thugging is what you were doing. She'd have got us in trouble, Will.
100%. You would have too,
100%.
though. So don't.
No, I'd have got us
don't-
out of trouble.
Don't
too.
act like you're the innocent one in all this.
If you was with me, you was good.
Well, I mean, that's how it is now. We're with you and we're
Well,
good.
The bodyguard.
Everybody eats.
Everybody eats, B. You're 100% correct.
Well, any fake tweet that comes out of the ACC meetings this week is going to be hard to decipher because everything is on the table for the ACC this week as they meet in Amelia Island. Clemson, FSU, Miami, North Carolina and NC State, Virginia, Virginia Tech are being called the Magnificent Seven ACC schools. This according to Brett McMurphy yesterday. And those schools have met in the past several months with lawyers examining grant of rights to determine how unbreakable their deal with the ACC really is. A deal that runs through 2036. This week in Amelia Island, administrators from the ACC gathered for their spring meetings, same meetings that the SEC has in Destin in a couple weeks. And essentially, you now have the SEC's new contract with ESPN, Fox's deal and CBS's deal with the Big Ten are making so much more for those schools, like up to $30 million more per school than what the ACC is getting, that you've got major players in the ACC raising their hands saying, nah, we're not cool with our rivals having this big of an advantage over us. Because all of those schools have in common natural rivals within the South that aren't in the ACC. Clemson with South Carolina, Florida with Florida State, Miami with Florida, North Carolina, NC State, Virginia and Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
So essentially now, Ross Dellinger on SI.com writes that the ACC teams, the Magnificent Seven, have three choices. A, seek additional revenue from ESPN. Good luck with that.
Whoa.
Because the ACC has no leverage in that scenario whatsoever.
None.
Their second option is to secede from the league and create their own conference of those seven schools. Reportedly, FSU and Clemson are the most frustrated. They could pay the $120 million exit fee to get out of the ACC. But then you've got to argue that whatever new conference you would have would make you more than that $120 million, and that's probably a hard pill to swallow.
How fluid are they as a university, you think, to drop that check?
Well, it's not that as much as it is if you're leaving because you're not getting as much per year from a network.
Yeah.
Are you going to be able to negotiate as a 7-team brand new conference to get more than what you're already getting now? Again, you don't have the leverage.
Don't.
Third option, create another league. If these seven agree to dissolve the current grant of rights agreement, which we still don't know if that's even possible yet or not, they may add a couple more schools and begin their own association in hopes of signing their own TV deal that's more lucrative.
Okay.
So the ACC is the conference to watch here because they're starting to crumble a little bit. The Pac-12, the cracks have been in that foundation for months now, since UCLA and USC announced they were leaving.
Yeah.
And so it's a battle between Pac-12 and Big 12. And you've just got the ACC kind of over here, this nebulous, we don't really know.
Yeah.
So it is a fascinating next wave of expansion.
So is the ACC network just not generating anything?
It's not the revenue generating or not. It's just the TV deal they have is just not as lucrative as the brand new ones that have been signed since that one was agreed upon.
Right. So when I heard Texas and Oklahoma come to the SEC, I personally thought, well, what about Miami, Florida State, and Clemson? That was my conversation piece I was having with friends was, what about Florida State? What about Clemson? What about Miami? Like, that to me seemed more natural than having pillars like Texas and Oklahoma come to the SEC. Like Arizona, I thought, to me personally, I thought Texas and Oklahoma were self-sustaining.
Yeah.
Way better than I thought of like Miami, Florida State, and Clemson. There's no way you would have ever in the history of college football told me that Texas and Oklahoma wants to come to the SEC. It just didn't make sense to me. Like you said a second ago, Will, with the inherited like rivals that they have. Florida State, it's natural. Clemson, natural. Okay, like Miami, naturally could be in the SEC.
Yeah. That did make a lot more sense, would have made a lot more sense. But that just goes to show, too, how much probably Oklahoma and Texas were like, we need to get out of the Big 12. Like, we want to be big, a part of where the money is, a part of the best conference. And maybe Miami, Florida State, Clemson.
Never thought this would be the case. Ever.
Yeah, is there a scenario where those 7 ACC teams combine with Big 12 castaways and form another league that wants to try to compete with the Big 10 of the SEC?
They could.
I think it's more likely that those teams just try to find their way into the SEC.
Paging Commissioner Sankey is the next statement I'd have.
I think they might go somewhere else before the SEC is going to expand even more.
I mean, if they're incentive of leaving is getting as big of a check as the SEC teams that are right down the road. The best way to do that is just by becoming an SEC team.
Right.
Or a Big Ten team.
Is it that easy?
One of those two.
Heck, we didn't think Texas and Oklahoma was this easy, and see how quickly that sped up.
Money does
that
everything.
Seems like the wave that's coming in the next 8 years.
So we have super
long
leagues.
term. Yeah.
The most powerful man in college sports.
It's Greg Sankey, and it's not even close.
I was wondering, was there a second? Not even, can't find him.
Jack Swarbrick, the athletic director of Notre Dame. The Notre Dame AD is the second most powerful, probably.
I know, but
or Nick Saban. Because he basically just complains and then the rules get changed. I'm serious.
I know you're 100% serious. Like, I ride with what you're saying.
Right. Coming up next, Ron Slade joins us. His thoughts on the expansion, what in the world is going on with the ACC and SEC, and his thoughts on just whatever else Ron Slade brings into the room. We let Slade dictate where the conversation goes.
We do.
Respectfully.
Respectfully.
Coming up next on 104.5 The Zone. Hour number 4 on your Tuesday morning drive-in. It's Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Hopefully your drive-in features less traffic than Ron Slay's this morning.
Yeah.
As he joins us
Get here safe.
momentarily. Slay's got places to be, things to do, people to talk to.
He said he 1 block away, so he ain't far.
Oh, that's perfect.
Hopefully he doesn't have to go to the bathroom. Remember that one story?
I remember that one. Whoo, jeez.
That ain't fun.
No, it's not fun at all. Not fun at all.
Again, if you missed it, preseason times and dates set for the Titans now. Saturday, August 12th, Saturday, August 19th in Chicago and in Minnesota. It's noon kickoff and a 7 p.m. Central Time kickoff. And then a Friday night against the New England Patriots. That is a 7:15 p.m. kickoff.
It's Friday.
Selfishly, very happy that we do not have a weeknight kick for the three of us
Preach,
this
Yeah.
preseason.
I like
Preach,
that.
my brother. Goodness. One of them's at 1 o'clock, you said also?
Noon.
Noon.
Yeah.
Saturday against the Bears.
Chicago.
August 12th.
What?
So we're within 3 months of legitimate tackle football.
Yeah.
Sooner that with the start of camp. You're right.
I love camp too.
We at 100 days yet?
Oof.
You love
I do. I mean, I'm not out there.
Ramona,
Sorry.
cringe.
Sorry about
I
that.
did cringe, man.
Sorry about that.
How awful was training camp?
It's hell, man.
Really?
Like, it's just the grind. It's a meat grinder day in and day out, doing the exact same things with different variations with the weather elements, sore body, trying to fight for your job. It's miserable, but the payoff and it's well worth it.
Here's me,
just
the little
is.
media member. Well, I love it
I love it. I'm like, what?
because it really is a long summer
It's pure.
when you don't have a lot going on,
Yeah.
and you're really looking forward to the first time you can start to see football in some capacity.
Yeah.
And just to see how this roster is going to form. I always love the competition at positions and
do
breaking
too.
that all down.
I will say this. Going back to the Titans training camp last fall, late summer, it was good to kind of see it,
Yeah.
be in the spirit of it a little bit. I was conversating a lot around there. So actually having eyes on guys in specific positions was one thing that if I go back again is, okay, like what am I watching today? Pick this out. Pick this out. As a player, I have focused in on my group because it's O-line versus D-line, then the team unit. I'm like, okay, I know who to look for,
Yeah.
what they need to be doing, and those types of things. But this is the other portion of it, too, why I say camp is hard. You can have a bad day, a bad stretch of camp, and still make the team because of what you can potentially do. And those dudes you see making plays all the time, it's quite fascinating that, guys, as Will said earlier, can be those training camp studs, but get inside of the stadium and they're nowhere to be found.
Right.
That's something I think is always going to be fascinating in the game of like trying to develop a team.
How much time did you spend at home during training camp? Legitimately, like at your apartment or
Just
at your.
the day you got off. Like we went away for camp also.
Oh,
so
that's right.
We were inside of dorms, and
Yeah.
that was a very unique situation. Like you really gotta like be all about football. It's probably why I hate it and love it at the same time because you're around nothing but football. No family interaction, no going home. You can get in your car to go to the store. There's a wing spot down the street that you can go to catch dinner with. The city over, you can go get dinner if you don't
Yeah.
want to eat cafeteria. But, like, you got to come back to camp. And I do think there's some value in that. But guys nowadays, they want to be in the comforts of their home, which to me is – I did the same thing at UT. We were in the dorms all
Right.
together. And you get to talk all football all day long. There's some pureness to it that I do miss. I love that.
We are 88 days away from the first preseason game.
88 days.
It's not bad.
No,
That's quick.
it's gonna go
honestly.
quick.
That's quick. With, summer sports coming up and vacation for some folks, you're
Yeah.
going to be middle of July before you actually know it. 4th of July is right around the corner, too.
Yeah, but once you
Crazy.
get past Memorial Day and then 4th of July.
Yeah.
4th of July is the day that I would always say as a kid, you'd do 4th of July and then it felt like you were just immediately back in school after that. Like the summer schedule speeds up after 4th of July.
I
I
remember
think
that,
so
too.
too.
I shouldn't be saying that because kids are just now getting off of school.
I know.
I shouldn't already be talking about when you got to go
We're
back
about
in.
to get done.
Ron Slay is
He
here.
made it safely.
Freeland.
No bathroom stops.
Entering
Ron?
the building.
All right. Good.
I thought it was your jacket. I don't know who jacket. You smell good this morning, man. What is that, velvet?
Velvet. This new scent, chocolate velvet.
Chocolate velvet from Savagery.
That's got to be racist.
You beat me to it.
That's what they call me, big
Good
chocolate
morning.
sometimes. You know?
It's medium chocolate now.
Yeah, I like big chocolate though.
You like big chocolate? Your daddy named Big Ron. That's why.
See what I'm saying? Say it running the genes, baby. It's in the genetics.
No, I ain't coming here to play
What's
around with you
happening,
today,
big dog?
man.
What up,
No,
though?
man.
What up, though? What up, though?
Abandon me on the weekend.
So, what's up, KK?
What's up?
Shave, what up, though?
Yo.
I abandon you.
Let me say this one time.
Good morning.
I see my dog over there. Now I don't know how I need to greet my dog. You know what I mean? I don't know if he's gonna be Josh. I don't know if he's gonna be
Red.
Yeah, red. Do I
I've been named after brothers-in-law and dogs over the last 24 hours. Slay thing.
I forgot you've
a
been
lot
on
of
the
different names. You know what I
Thank you
mean?
for coming to my aid.
You know what I mean? I'm with you. What's up, Will Lee?
Good morning.
We got a new nickname for him.
What's that?
For Jared.
I mean, you know what I mean?
Jared.
If the name fits, you know.
J-Ray.
J-Red.
I was gonna call
J-Ray.
in yesterday. I told Shay, man, and I was gonna put on there as Big Black calling. And I was just gonna talk to him in the Scooby Doo voice. Like, it could be
Ruh-roh.
You know what I mean? Here he come.
And you would have gotten away with it, too, if it wasn't for you meddling kids and your stupid dog.
Exactly.
If it wasn't for that meddling producer.
That producer told me, stop, don't do it. I said, you know what? All right, I'm gonna listen to you this time.
No, okay.
No, I don't see any scenario of that.
Facts. Facts.
No,
dog.
man, I was right around the corner, dog. So I said, you know what? I got here at 9:02. Usually I'm always pushing to get here about 9:18. Then I had to come on in on two wheels like my girl Babsy, you know what I mean? But I said, you know, I'm going to get there early. I'm going to go get me some waters real quick from the store. Man, they need to hurry and fix this road.
Yeah,
This is
Yeah.
pathetic.
Yep.
This is like, hey,
Gate
man.
that's locking us
Dude,
out of.
no, like when you get off of the Mumbrium and you turn right and then take a quick left to get right there to the gas
the
station.
gas station
7-Eleven
right there, by
now
the
used to be the
McDonald's.
Exxon. Yeah, by the
Oh,
McDonald's.
yeah. Oh, that road is
That road is horrific.
It's awful.
Yep.
Yeah,
Dude, it's just back-to-back, bumper-to-bumper traffic. Like, you can't go fast because the dips, man. Hey,
Yeah.
man, that's the silliest road. Nashville, do better. I'm telling you right now, do
Preach.
better. I went all the way back down by the Federal Building and came back around. You know what I mean? Just so I ain't have to sit there. That was silly. So silly.
That's
So
terrible,
silly.
man.
Yeah, but anyway, what's happening, y'all?
There are a lot of stories we've discussed today that I want to get your thoughts
been
on.
rolling.
But I want to start with the fact that Stetson Bennett went to college for 6 years and didn't graduate.
Can we slander him, please?
My kind of guy.
He deserves the what's the opposite of flowers that you can give someone?
Foolery.
Oh,
The
he
foolery
deserves the Nathanielisms that we can give him.
Yeah.
Beer keg.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of players that don't come from his background and don't play quarterback who would get roasted
So
Yeah.
would.
for playing for 6 years and not graduating, and he deserves to get roasted.
No, dog, you'll get roasted by. See, this how you know it's a whole different generation. And the kid, the young man, the young adult, whatever you want to call them, the student athlete, they're totally different now.
Yeah.
Because if you were on our team and you were in school for 6 years and you didn't have a doctorate or right there at the next level of knocking on the door, we tearing you up.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I mean, dog, you are the joke every single on the team plane, at team dinner, at the end of practice, pre-practice when we stretching, at free throws, like whatever it is, you are the joke the whole time. Dog, what you still doing here? So at the end, you know how coach bring up the huddle, you know what I mean? Football, basketball, baseball, it's all the same. Stand in the middle. Hey man, you know, guys, we got grades about to come out soon. You know, guys need to get to the tutoring appointment, this, that, and the The joke's gonna fly right then. I mean, Stetson, what you doing? You might as well go to the locker room. You don't need to listen to this. This don't pertain to you, dog.
Yep.
You either you doing the tutoring or, you know what I'm saying, you ain't been going anyway. So, hey, man, that would have been jokes.
It would have. Straight up, man.
Not
And he
even in school.
deserved it.
What?
Even Cardell Jones tweeted it.
Oh, God,
and
that's awesome.
Said, buddy definitely wasn't playing school.
That's freaking awesome coming from Cardell.
And you know he
Right?
know. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
And with the name like that, too, Ron, like
on.
Stetson at the 6th or 7th or 8th. Like,
come on, man. What was the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd doing? That's what I need
Like,
to know.
legitimately, though, he
Dude.
lived college, to your point
Yeah.
earlier.
Yeah.
He lived
Oh, he
it now.
balled. He balled.
He lived it. That man, he paced himself
Yes,
into
he
a
did.
starting role
Yes, he did.
and back-to-back championships.
So
like,
did.
there's honor in that. I
Yeah.
give him that.
Yeah, he
but
stuck
he
it out.
gonna get these jokes.
all day long.
Okay, all right. I just
I mean,
make sure
all
you wasn't
day
letting
long.
up on him.
No, ain't no way, boy. I couldn't wait. I wouldn't be able to. Like, dog, where's your tassel? Do they just giving you a cap? You know what I mean? You just walking across with it. You don't get no tassel or nothing.
Right, man.
Like, yeah, don't get this man a robe or nothing. Just let him come on through.
Hey, Stetson, go on lay one of them 2017
You know what I mean?
speeches on
Come
us.
on, man.
Like, that's
You
where
gotta
he
bring
is.
something
Like,
to the table.
lay one of them 2017 speeches on us, Stetson. You was here for that team.
Yeah,
Tell us about
yeah.
it.
You really seen the transition.
Well, that's 15.
It's going to be really hard for Stetson
Kirby
Bennett
might
to
got
run
that
a pre-owned vehicle dealership out of North Georgia without a college degree.
What's crazy, Will, was even more cold about the dealership. He was there long enough to lose his warranty.
That's right.
Yeah.
His extended
So
warranty. He's been
Seriously.
getting a lot of
So
calls about his
that's
extended
amazing.
warranty since he got to Georgia.
His warranty was
Yeah,
up.
man, dude, that's crazy. That doesn't happen. Anytime you get the red shirt, you expect it to go on and be able to
Right.
graduate if you stay to no.
Will Anderson at Alabama got 2 degrees in 3 years.
See,
I think Joe Milton, legitimately, I think, is going for his doctorate. John Fulkerson might have John Fulkerson could have been the chancellor by the time he left Tennessee.
Yeah, it's only right. Only right.
I love it.
Man, went from
Wow,
teacher
man.
to principal out here.
Got promoted.
We were talking about SEC quarterback situations earlier on in the show.
Yeah.
The fact that Alabama, according to one reporter, ranks 10th in the SEC in terms of best quarterback situations. I don't remember a season like this where the quarterback situations at blue blood programs is this big of a question mark in the SEC. Between Georgia and Alabama, whose quarterback situation do you feel the most confident in right now?
Ooh. That's tough right there, Will, because I mean, you go off the name and you gonna jump and say Alabama because you at least been able to see these guys. You know, Georgia, you really have no earthly idea. Like, it's been Stetson. That's the good thing. In this championship run, he's been a mainstay.
A walk-on.
A walk-on, yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what I honestly do not know. And it's strange that you get to this point, but you expect them to reload, but I guess that's what the transfer portal does. You know, people don't have to sit around no more and wait on their opportunity to come. They can go create our opportunity somewhere else, whether that be model like Stetson Bennett to go leave, do work, then come back again. So it's funny, man, where these blue bloods are, because you're not used to seeing that.
Right.
And what does that mean for college football? You know, like, are they going to get back to the running game? Is that what the blue blood is? That's what Georgia and Bama is about to do? Get back to pounding the ball? Or, you know, are they going to find somebody to fill that void? Because if it's Milroe, I'm begging for him to go and put him right there.
I know, right? 'Cause
Yeah, go on. Yeah, what's the
That ain't gonna be
Tennessee
good.
kid?
Ty Simpson.
Ty Simpson. Don't put him
Westview
back
High
there.
School.
So
Yeah.
the real question is, how do we feel about that situation? As a fan of the state, from the state, I wanted him at Tennessee.
Oh, yeah.
So what's the conversation around a guy like that? We look at the situations like Joe is at UT, and if it had not been for Nico, then you got to look at that and be like, man, well, gosh, we missed out on Ty. Ty's not getting many rave reviews out of Alabama right now.
Yep.
So that's tough.
That's the biggest thing. I think you don't know. Like I remember when Bryce Young was taking snaps in the spring game, and I was like, golly, boy, whenever he gets to play. I became a fan from the spring game.
Wow.
Watching Bryce Young. You know, it's like you don't see that.
Yeah.
You don't see that.
No.
Like it's weird, man. It is so weird. So it's interesting to see what's the next step. And I mean, even with mainstays that have been there for 2 years, 3 years is a lifetime now. But
Yeah,
guys
it
that have been
is.
there for 2 years, like you take a guy like Will Levis, with him being in Kentucky, he's been a mainstay. I mean, you got around the SEC. It was besides Rattler and that is the name, man.
Spencer Rattler.
Spencer Rattler.
Yeah.
Spencer Rattler and KJ Jefferson. Who do you have? You know what I'm saying? That you lean on.
SEC.
Jay Daniels is the other one.
Yeah.
Jay
LSU.
Daniels. You know, so I mean, It's funny, man. Guys being able to bounce and get up out of there, and if they not bouncing and getting out of there going to the league, they bouncing and getting out of there and going to another college.
But does that say something about, Georgia, where they've had some good quarterbacks come there and get beat out by Stetson Bennett?
Yep.
Even Alabama's gotten lucky with kind of a couple of guys that they've had with Bryce Young, with Tua Tagovailoa.
Yep.
If I'm a quarterback who's seriously looking at developing and playing in an offense that's going to get you hopefully some looks if it pans out with some of the guys they're putting in the NFL.
Yep.
I'm going to Tennessee. I'm looking at Tennessee.
Yeah, you have to.
I really am.
It only makes sense. I mean, unless Alabama's has the receivers to start to come back,
which they did not last
they
year.
Didn't. So,
right.
But I'm with you, Kay. I just don't understand where the transfer portal took the place of guys staying, because what's Tua's little brother? Tua's little brother was supposed to be the next in waiting.
Is over
Maryland.
Where is it? Maryland.
Yeah. He was really supposed to be the next in waiting.
Yes, he was.
So once Bryce Young stepped out of there, he really, if he waited his time, was supposed to be the one to take over. But that's moved on. So now you got these voids, and I'm honestly in the SEC, I'm not looking anywhere other than I'm South Carolina, Tennessee.
Gotta give LSU the benefit.
Because you know what they're going to do, LSU. And they're going to have the talent around them. Honestly, Kentucky, you know they're going to get some receivers. You don't know what they're going to do with the O-line, but
Florida's not really stable.
Florida's not stable. No. That's why I'm not mentioning them. Alabama's not where they're supposed to be receiver-wise. Georgia, they're going to have talent, but that's not their MO. You know what I mean? Stetson just knew he was the fabric of the offense once you start passing the ball. So I just don't understand it.
It's hard to follow up.
It is, man.
That type of performance and talent.
It's totally different.
It really is.
Yep.
And right now, Georgia's in a position with Raiola that's really just like they hope he turns into that.
They got the Nico of 2024.
They do.
And then the fans' voice has become so loud also. So you got to add that whole different element into it. If you're not going to wait and then you do get out there and
you stink it up.
Yeah, all the fans. Man, social media, they got a voice.
That's so true.
They do.
I heard Bully talking about that tank that they'll fall in. You think an NFL guy fall in the tank? College. He going to fall in the tank and he's out of there. Like, forget about this. He'll transfer mid-season.
Social media is why Greg Schiano was never officially Tennessee's head coach.
There you go.
Word.
I mean,
there you go.
Legitimately. And a couple of people on social media. Coming up next, we've been talking to people all week about their rookie minicamp experiences. And I'm curious to ask Slay whether it's a freshman at Tennessee, a specific camp at Pearl Cone, or in your days playing professionally. Was there one camp experience that stands out to you? Anytime we could have Slay tell a story about his playing days, good things transpired. We'll do that to finish off the show. Coming up next to 104.5 The Zone. Wrapping up our Tuesday morning show here on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. The Buck Rising Show is on deck as Titans veterans speak to the media at noon this afternoon. You can hear that live on 104.5 The Zone on the Lucas Panzica and Robert Walsh show with Buck Rising. Slay, we've been talking a lot about rookie mini camps. Was there one training camp that was most memorable in your basketball career for any reason?
I had quite a few.
Okay.
Reason being, I used to go out and be out of shape. You know what I'm saying?
Fair enough.
Yeah, I would always go. Especially when I was young. When I was about 22, 21, all the way to about 29.
Yeah.
I would go probably about 35, 45%. Because I would be like, man, training camp is to get in shape.
Right.
Yeah.
For me. Like, I don't want to go over there tip-top shape. And then, because when you playing professionally, it's a wall you hit as well as college, especially if you don't know. I knew my body. So if I went over there tip-top shape, in the middle of the year, I'm going to hit a wall, and I'm going to go through about 2 weeks where I got to fight out of that, and, I'm going to get my groove back. But doing this way, it was cool. So I remember I got two. I told one yesterday on 3HL because Mike Vrabel, he said when he walked into the room with the rookies, he was like, hey, man, we got to tell some jokes. It's too stiff in here, this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I remember that. And when I was with Miami, we're getting ready for a summer league, we got all the vets, Karan Butler, all those guys. They left, so it was just the rookies, me, UD, D-Wade, people like that. So we sitting there, and I assumed the role of the jokester. You know what I'm saying? So I was going to cut the tension off the top. The only hard part about that, though, when guys like Van Gundy and Pat Riley come in, it's hard to cut that off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and it's hard to get out that box that you put yourself in. Oh, like, dude, the jokes. Even though you playing hard on the floor,
right?
It's like, oh, man, he going to be playing around all the time. So that was hard to shake. But my other preseason, when I went overseas, I was in Italy, and we always go to the mountains for 7 days. Go to the mountains for 7 days. You're going to do 2 a days. Every single day, you get 1 a day on the fourth day. So the first day we start out, they like, we got to go to the soccer field. Europe, huge on that. We warm up just like soccer players do. It ain't nothing but a light jog, but this don't make sense to me. You know what I'm saying? Because basketball, we sprinting and stopping, We're not gliding, and we're not chilling, and we're not trotting, and we're not talking, running in pairs and all that. I'm like, hey, man. Dude, I ain't with this, man. What we doing? And as we out there at 7, the sun up. We in the mountains, so ain't no shade. The sun beaming down. We on the soccer field. I'm like, hey, dog, I ain't gonna be able to do this, man. I'm gonna be real. I ain't gonna be able to do this. Yeah. So I went down. At this time, they ain't had an iPod. I still had the Walkman. So I got the Walkman on, the CD is skipping while I'm running. I'm like, I'm gonna go out here, I'm gonna put it up under my spandex, put my headphones on, and run around. It was like, hey, you gotta take your headphones off. So I would just run on off the path. And instead of being on the soccer field, I'd be all up in the mountains.
You would.
And hey, dog, I was an irritant.
You are a menace
to society.
Every bit of it, dog.
Menace.
And I would act like I would run off, and they'd be like, hey, man, tell him to come back. And I'd be like, I can't hear him. I'm gone. Yeah. So
running.
I come back. I time it like when the warm-up's supposed to be over. And I come back. They'll be like, hey, we got to do it again. So I'll put my headphones on and run off again. I'll be like, I don't understand. I don't know Italian. I don't know.
Yeah.
English.
No,
But I will say, as soon as you put the ball on the court,
yeah, right,
I would show up. So they'd be like, God, we got to put up with this fool, man. So that's why if you gonna talk it and you gonna be that guy, you got to be able to back it up. But man, I got plenty of stories, dog. I remember going down to dinner one time, and the first meal, and they got the first dish, second dish, then the dessert and all that. I'm like, man, what is this, man? So they bring my first dish. I'm like, I don't eat this. You know what I'm saying? I need. So I started being known as the sauce guy. I like I had my sauce, so I didn't have no sauces at that time, so I didn't know. So I went back in the back of the kitchen, back there where they cooking at. They like, I know you. No, you gotta get out. I'm like, hey man, come on, man, where the sauce at, man? Like, where the honey? I started taking honey. I was something else.
Did they ever say things to you didn't know what they were saying?
Yeah, until they put that fine out there. Now, I got that $30,000 fine. I was like, this is what we gonna do? Yeah. I ended up getting it back in bonuses, but yeah,
There you go.
preseason wasn't.
That's great.
It wasn't nothing.
Football's unique though. You can't come there out of shape
Yeah, really?
because it's so
Be like
much
Traylon
physical
Burks.
to it
Yeah.
that like you're gonna die out there.
Panda.
Like y'all can guide yourself into a football. It's clockwork.
Yeah. But
I've
see-
seen guys do it, but they were
You
old
get soft
vets.
tissue if you
had
don't come in
to.
shape.
Yeah, that's different.
You could just sit in the ice
See,
tub.
I would
Yeah.
pace my way through, Savage. I could, because I can play basketball. I just can't do the running. I can't
Yeah.
do all that running.
Yeah.
Like that don't make sense to me.
That's why Shafe
Not to me
says
anymore
Will
either.
has a sickness with running.
That's fair.
Yep.
It's a mental illness.
It's mental illness.
We're back at it tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Thank you to Ron Slay for joining us. Thank you to Keith Bulluck. Wednesday morning.